Yeah. Welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast live. Yes. So as you can see, for right now, it's just me. My man G is not here. He's not going to be with us today. Has some stuff to take care of, but we're going to have another special surprise guest coming up shortly. So looking forward to that. But let's go ahead and do some of our intro stuff, get some of the particulars out of the way, and then we'll go from there. All right. So as you can see from the thumbnail, I think we got some pretty interesting topics for you today. Got some good stuff going. We're going to talk some boxing because it seems to kind of be remaining in the front of the sports landscape right now. And of course, the biggest story, we're going to talk Bronny James and him now being a member of the NBA, him joining his father, LeBron James Sr., on the Los Angeles Lakers. That's a huge topic, got a lot of different tentacles to it. So we're going to get to that. Of course, we're going to hit some NFL topics. We're going to talk about Tua Tagovailoa and the fact that he's another quarterback still out there waiting for a new deal. And then we're going to finish it up with what I want to call quick hits. So that's going to be some topics I'm going to just touch on that I didn't want to get into a full segment about them. Really didn't think they were that pertinent, but I did think they were interesting. So wanted to make sure I touched on those. So yeah, let's get going. But before we get to that, you know what time it is. If you're here on YouTube and you haven't already, please make sure you go ahead, click that like, that subscribe, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept up to date whenever we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you give us that like, that 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And finally, make sure you write it down, put it in your phone, set an alarm, do whatever you got to do to remember. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. we are live here on the Format Podcast, and we'll give you the opportunity to call in, talk to us, get at me. I love it. I can't wait. All right. So let's do it, man. So as you can see from the rundown, like I talked about there, we're gonna talk about some boxing first. I love boxing, and it's funny. When I was growing up, and that was some time ago, right? In the 80s and 90s, like boxing was still really big, right? I was born in 78, so the end of the 70s. But at that time, boxing was really big. You still had, well, at that time, Muhammad Ali, the greatest. He was on his last legs, but you had Sugar Ray Leonard, who was the next big American star, and obviously he would go through the 80s with the Four Kings, obviously Roberto Duran, man with the hands of stone, Tommy Hitman Hearns, of course, what's my man name, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Up in the heavyweights, you had Iron Mike Tyson, who would make his explosion and I think win his first championship, youngest champion ever. Youngest heavyweight champion ever at what age 19, I believe, 19 or 20 in 1986. So really good decade, and boxing was still huge. People still loved it. But then you saw, as we came more and more to the current day, you have issues where boxers aren't fighting each other, promoters are getting in the way, boxers are saying, I don't want to do that. They're thinking about their quote unquote brand more than they're thinking about making the great fights, not only for themselves and their legends, but themselves, their legends, and the sports, of course, the sport itself of boxing. And that really is bothersome to me when you got guys thinking about all the other stuff, because again, I came up in an era in all sports, not just boxing, but I came up in an era when if you take care of your business and you master your craft, and I'm sure you've heard me say this before, if you're not new to the channel, if you mastered your craft, then everything else would come along with it, right? So it's really weird. Back then, it was like, if you dominate whatever your endeavor is and you master your craft, then all the branding opportunities will come to you. But it's like now, I guess because of the advent of social media and all those different things, you see all these different companies and the endorsement opportunities and everything. They want to see what type of branding you've built for yourself first before they put the money into you. And I guess to some extent, I understand that. But what's happening is you're seeing guys that are more concerned with building a brand than they are with mastering their craft. And to me, that's problematic. Now, some guys are capable of doing both at the same time, but then you see other guys who are focusing more on the latter, and building the brand. And so, again, my mentality is always going to be, if you master your craft, everything else is going to come along with it. But, many people don't see that, and so be it. So anyway, boxing. Boxing is kind of, to me, I think it's starting to make a comeback. You have really talented fighters. You have tremendously big fights that are possible to be made. And we see it that when the big fights are made, you still see a situation where um, the, the desire for those fights is there. It's clamoring for it. The fans are clamoring for it. And not just the true boxing fans, but also the casual boxing fans, because when the right fights are made, we see the sales in pay-per-view, we see the money, and we see all of that. So I'm just like, man, make the fights, stop with the BS, and let's get to it. And you see when those things happen, then the interest is there and the interest is live. Okay, so I've talked about this a few times before, and obviously it's the Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia fight. I guess that's about 2 months ago now, and that was a huge fight. And Devin Haney came into the fight undefeated. He had never lost. Obviously, when you're undefeated, you never lost. He was a champion, I think, in 2 divisions. He'd been fighting. He never fought really too much in amateurs. He fought professionally since the age of 15. He never really signed with a major promoter. Him and his dad have kind of been doing their thing, and they have really etched out a very good career, if not a great career so far. So Devin Haney came into the fight. He was undefeated. Ryan Garcia only had 1 loss, and that loss was to Tank Davis, who now is really becoming the face of boxing, which is crazy that a lightweight would be the face of boxing, but so be it. Tank Davis, we know, is just incredibly skilled and incredibly powerful. And what boxing fans love the knockout, right? They love knockout artists. So respect due to Tank Davis. But yeah, Ryan Garcia comes into the fight. The first issue is that he didn't make weight. So I think he had to pay Devin Haney $1.5 million for not making weight. It was like, what was it, $500,000 a pound. So you have that. Okay, he doesn't make weight. I think that Ryan Garcia he probably didn't feel like draining down to those last 3 pounds to be able to make weight, so as not to. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to make enough money from this fight. I'm going to just go ahead, and where I am is where I am, and I'm going to go ahead and pay him. So be it, whatever. So Ryan Garcia, he comes into the fight, and he pretty much dominates it for most of the way. And I really didn't expect this, right? Because Devin Haney is a guy that always seems to find a way, even in the tougher fights, he just always finds a way to scrap his way through and come out with a win. And so you got to love fighters like that, the guys who can do that. But for the first time in his professional career, Devin Haney was knocked down. I think he was knocked down 3 times in this fight. And he was beaten, what's the expression, pillar to post by Ryan Garcia. Now, I'm not going to act like he didn't. He showed what I love to see especially in combat sports, right? He showed what I call the warrior spirit. And a lot of guys don't have that, which is odd because you're fighting a warrior sport. How come you wouldn't have the warrior spirit? But hey, that's just me. So we watched the fight. Ryan Garcia, he clearly got the better of him. He ends up winning the fight. Now, it's not quite the same because he didn't make weight, so he couldn't take the straps. But then we find out after the fight, what do we find out? Here's the problem. Ryan Garcia popped for 2 performance-enhancing drugs, which is crazy. Now, he's adamant that he didn't cheat. And of course, Devin Haney and his dad are adamant that Ryan Garcia knew what he was doing, and he was basically trying to juice, and he was trying to cheat. And I'm like, I don't even know which side to be on. Now, you'll hear in the clip later from Ryan Garcia that there's like a billionth of a nanogram or something like that. Like whatever the measurement was, it was really, really tiny. Now, it was enough to be a violation, but it was also a really, really tiny measurement. So they've been going back and forth over this. And as a result, the B sample got tested with Ryan Garcia. And it sucked because he ends up now basically everything that he had done, improving himself as being an elite fighter by beating another undefeated elite fighter, by giving him a one-sided beatdown, by knocking him down for the first time in his career, and doing all these things. Now everything comes into question, right? Because you're in a position where if you're Ryan Garcia, now it's okay, you couldn't make weight, so you deliberately came in bigger, which I don't really buy the whole make weight thing, because Devin Haney, he's a guy who bulks up considerably when he rehydrates as well. So I'll leave that to the side, but whatever. So first, but a lot of people, boxing aficionados and boxing purists and such have issue with Ryan Garcia not making weight. One, they see it as a lack of discipline. Two, sometimes they see it as he deliberately came in big to try and lean on Devin Haney, et cetera, take advantage of size against a smaller man. Fine, whatever. Then we got the big one, of course, the PED he popped for basically for juicing, right? And so Ryan Garcia ends up, after the B sample gets tested, he ends up with a 1-year suspension from the New York State Athletic Commission, and that's tough. He also has to forfeit his $1.1 million purse. He has to forfeit that to Golden Boy, and he has to pay a $10,000 fine to the New York Boxing Commission. So, you've been hearing Zab Judah and not Zab Judah, I'm sorry. You've been hearing Devin Haney and his dad, Bill Haney, complaining about that since it happened. Now you're hearing Zab Judah, I'm sorry. Now we're hearing Devin Haney saying he's going to sue and all of this stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I get it. The dude popped, he's dirty. And of course, you are undefeated and nobody can take back the memory. Like, okay, the fight goes to a no contest now. So that loss comes off your record. So you still have a no contest, but you can't take it out of people's memory the way you got beaten down in that fight, right? The way I'm not going to say got exposed, because I still believe that he's an elite fighter, but the way you got beaten down in that fight, you can't take it out of anybody's memory. And I think that's really tough. So you have to deal with that if you're Devin Haney. So he and his dad have been doing a lot of complaining and, dare I say, whining about the situation post that fight. But again, Ryan Garcia, the decision has been rendered, and he's got to pay the money, and he's suspended for a year. So this is where it gets interesting. By the way, if you're watching on Instagram, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, wherever you're watching, please make sure you go over to the Facebook page, give it a like. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to the channel. All that helps us greatly. Really, really appreciate that. Helps the channel grow, helps us get more stuff out there to people so that they can see the work that we're doing here. All right. So anyway, now this is where it gets interesting. So I think last week, Zab Judah, for whatever reason, former lightweight and welterweight great Zab Judah, former champion, he hosted a what do you call this, an Instagram live, I believe it was, and he had Ryan Garcia and Bill Haney, Devin Haney's dad, and his manager and trainer. He had them on there, and well, that was interesting. So let me play a clip for you from that, because I thought it was very interesting, and I was like, these are so anyway, here's the first clip from Devin Haney, Bill Haney, and Ryan Garcia.
Oscar Valdez got popped, and guess what? He got 0 suspension. Shane Mosley got popped, 0 suspension. Canelo gets popped 6 months. I get popped a year.
You know why? You know why?
It's just
But the
different
commission,
rules.
the commission,
I had
the
a
commission
billions
looked up. The
gram.
commission looked up your.
You know how much a billions gram is, Bill? You could take a little salt,
No.
put it in an Olympic sized swimming pool, and that's what I had in my system.
Hey, listen. If you have a pinch of heroin, is it?
So you heard the clip got cut off there at the end, but it was you heard Bill Haney say, hey, listen, if you had a pinch of heroin, is it still heroin? But I think let's see, Alfred, what's good, man? Thank you for coming in. Appreciate you. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. For an undefeated and beaten like that leaves a lot of questions as to your ability, and you can beat Crawford. Are you asking the question about whether or not Devin Haney could beat Crawford or Ryan Garcia? Is that your question? Put that in the chat so I can see and try to answer you. But yeah, I think that the frustration comes from Bill and Devin Haney, because to your point, those guys were undefeated and they had gotten a lot done. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so here we got my guy Big Red from the we'll let him introduce himself. But here's my he's going to join us and he's going to talk with us about these topics.
What's
Big
up, man?
Red, what's good, man? How you doing?
I can't hear anything. Is that me?
Might be you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. All right, so Big Red, he's getting himself set up here. While that happens, I'm going to continue on
my end.
So, yeah. So where were we? We were discussing So the Ryan Garcia thing, I think the issue again is Bill Haney and Devin. It wasn't even just that
Oh,
they
yeah,
lost;
man.
is that Devin Haney, he got beat down in that fight, and so he's embarrassed, and so you know he's got all that going on. So with the clip we just heard, I think first it was a good point by Ryan Garcia, and this is why I've been saying boxing needs some sort of overarching governing body, right? Because you could have one punishment in New York given by the New York State Athletic Commission. You could have a different one in Texas, a different one in Nevada. I really don't like that. And then, of course, you getting to the actual in-ring product, the fights and all that, you have all these different promoters, so on and so forth. And I think we kind of we need to bring that in a little bit. And that's why I really like the idea of the Saudi Boxing League. If you're a boxing fan, you probably heard about that. Minister of Sport for Saudi Arabia, Turkey Al-Sheikh, is trying to, in a way, clean up the sport by uh, what what I read, what was reported is that he's trying to buy out a lot of the promoters so that he can get most of the fighters under one umbrella. That way, we don't have the issue with guys not fighting each other because promotional issues and so on and so forth. And also, if you have that going on, then in a situation like this, you would have uniform punishment for violations, et cetera, et cetera. So I will take this moment here to take a break, and I'll introduce my man Big Red. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? Had a little bit of sound issue for a second, but I think I'm good now.
Oh, it's all good, man. Hear you loud and clear. Hear you loud and clear. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the people?
All right. Well, I'm Big Red, and I have a podcast on YouTube called The Last Rewind. We talk about a lot of things dealing with pop culture, stuff from back in the days, the 70s, 80s, 90s, music videos, movies. And then we also talk about sports and what's going on in the world today, such as what you're talking about today, man. Only been doing it for about a year. So, we're kind of new to the game, but, it's been pretty fun so far, having to hear other people's opinions and giving myself, and I also have a partner on there named Tremaine. He does it with me too. He gives his point of view on, certain topics that we like to talk about. And it's just fun hearing other people's point of views on certain things sometimes. And then there's some people that take it too far, the fanatics, there's fans and then there's fanatics. And fans is cool that you can just talk to in a barbershop, but the fanatics that act like they're in love or married to the superstar in question.
Oh, we're gonna get
like
there.
that.
Don't worry about it. We're gonna get there, man. But that's the thing. Fan is short for fanatic. So like sometimes I wonder why fans act like that, but that's exactly what it's short for. So it's tough to expect some fans, especially for as you mentioned, certain stars to act with a rational mind. But it is crazy. But yeah, back to the boxing. So what I thought was interesting too, and you didn't hear it in this clip, it was later in the clip. All of a sudden we hear Ryan Garcia, he accuses Devin Haney of juicing as well. And what he said was, I don't know if you heard that, Big Red. One of the things he said was he's never seen a guy who weight trains and then bulks back up so easily. But I'm like, that's odd. You're a fighter. You've been around professional fighters.
Right.
Most fighters do that. Most fighters have to weight drain to make it. And then obviously when they rehydrate and they eat or whatever, they will bulk back up. We've seen guys clean bulk up as much as 20 pounds, after the weigh-in prior to the fight the next day. So there's all of that. So, it's going to be what it's going to be. I didn't like that. And I hate when people do that because we never heard Ryan Garcia complain about Devin Haney and possibly juicing until this came out. And I think that's so lazy. And I think that's whataboutism. Even though I like Ryan Garcia, I think he's a tremendous fighter. I think that was terrible. So before we go ahead and play Devin Haney's clip on this, I kind of want to get your thoughts on this, Big Red, on where you are with this whole Ryan Garcia thing, him popping, and Devin Haney and Bill Haney's response to it.
Well, I mean, from what a little bit I heard about it, I know Ryan Garcia, he finally, the test came back and it showed that he was using, he was bragging pretty hard after that last win he had.
He was.
To me, I don't know. The last few things I've heard from him in the last few weeks, he's kind of clownish to me. As far as the popping concern, and maybe I can connect it to what you were talking about earlier with a governing body for boxing. Because boxing just seems to be controlled by several different people. We don't, you have like 4 belts for the heavyweight championship right now.
Right.
I'll play devil's advocate a little bit on this. UFC, if I'm corrected, if they're governed by what, the USDA, is that who does their drug testing?
USADA, maybe. Yeah,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
it's USADA.
Yeah, USADA. I think that's the same acronym. I think they are under one governing body, but the biggest chief complaint about UFC is their fighters don't get paid well,
Right.
compared to boxing.
Mhm.
And I will. That's one. Well, that's a huge drawback, I would say, for like fighters like the dude that just fought the guy from Britain, British guy, the heavyweight fight where he got clean knocked out in like a minute.
Oh,
Or Conor McGregor, where
okay.
guys, where guys have to come to UFC and come to boxing to make that big payday, that 30 million, 40, 50
Oh,
million for
Francis
a fight.
Ngannou. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, is the Saudi people, I don't want to sound racist, but the Saudi kings or whoever are going to run the government boxing over there, are they going to be able to pay them, not just the top heavyweight fighters, but the people under them, a good, fair amount like they do throughout boxing at these random organizations? Or is it going to be like UFC for the undercards? Or is it just going to be the heavyweight champions is going to get paid a lot? Is it going to be equal? Is it going to be fair pay across the board like they think they're going to do, or they say they're going to do? Because I mean, they got crazy money over there to pay these boxers.
That's what I was about to say. They got the dough, so
Yeah,
I don't see why not. They got the bread. Absolutely. No, that's a great question. I think that money is not the problem, but yeah, how they're going to dole it out, that would be the question. And I'm not saying that it would be perfect. Obviously, nothing is perfect, and there would be wrinkles to iron out. But for me, I kind of like having general guidelines and overarching governing bodies. I'm a proponent of that. It's probably the military in me talking, but I kind of like knowing that, the rules are the rules and the setup is the setup, but not if I go over here, I got something totally different that I have to figure out and I have to work with versus over there. So, I think.
Well, here's another thing to think about. When you start offering that type of money, this is why it's happening. This is why Ryan Garcia did what he did. It's the generational payday. So people are going to try to curb the rules, and they're going to try to use steroids because they're not going to see that kind of payday ever again. So if the Saudis or whatever are going to pay them this type of money, then they're going to do whatever they can, including cheat, to get that type of money. And the bigger the fight, the bigger the payday, the bigger the lifestyle change. Are they going to be able to govern that? I mean, we're trying to do it here, but we let certain things slide because we want to see that fight. There's a lot of fighters out there that would come up to the fight clean, and then the opponent ends up testing positive after the fight. And it's a lot of times I don't even think they even changed the rules. I mean, they even changed the results after the fight. I know they did for this one. I think the other dude had to fight hard to get him to change the results of it. But are they going to end up doing that? Is it going to come to a point where the bigger this league becomes, are people going to do everything they can to get that big money purse?
So I would disagree with that on the basis of, so you got Ryan Garcia. Prior to the Devin Haney fight, he already had a huge money fight when he fought Tank. Ryan Garcia, his social media following is like gigantic, so he's going to be a draw pretty much wherever he fights, right? The best fighters are, for the most part, always going to be a draw. Canelo is going to be a draw. So once you hit a certain level, I don't believe that it's going to be like you have to do everything you can because you may never see that again, because the big fighters, they're there already, and they're going to continue to be that, which is why in many cases they can demand like ridiculous stipulations, etc., in the fights, because they know that they are the draw. They are the quote unquote A side. Like Floyd Mayweather Jr. always used to say, he's the A side, so he could demand pretty much whatever he wanted. But let's go ahead and let's hear what Devin Haney had to say about this whole thing, and then we'll go on from there.
For the shit that he did, I want to make him pay for the shit that he did in the ring, out the ring. However, when you sign a contract, he said that He's gonna be clean going into the fight. I'm gonna be clean. It ain't gonna be nothing in my system. It ain't gonna be nothing in his system. And he didn't hold up his bargain. He didn't hold up on his side of that. So he will pay. I'm still a businessman at the end of the day. And people admire me because of my business sense. And
So I respect the fact that Devin Haney is upset about how it went down. Again, undefeated, and he got beat from pillar to post in that fight. He fought like a warrior though, so it's not like he just laid down and got totally annihilated. He continued to fight, but it was clear that he got dominated. And I respect the fact that he's upset about it, but like now you're suing, like, come on, the fight got ruled a no contest. You didn't lose your belts. Now you're suing, like, come on, man. But what I will say is that rematch is going to be gigantic, right? But my next question is, when it comes to Devin Haney and his father Bill, again, we know why they're upset, but why are they acting as if they fought this guy? You know what I'm saying? It's Ryan Garcia, not Ivan Drago. Like, why are they acting like they fought some super monster machine out here? You know, it's like, come on, let's not go over the top. Like when Ryan Garcia first popped and the results came out, they were talking about, Bill Haney was like, oh, he tried to kill my baby, and oh, he could have taken my boy's life. And I understand if he came out like that guy we just saw in the clip, I get it, but like he pushed it a little bit far. But what I can say, all this is leading up to something amazing, and I think it could be a huge mega money rematch after 1 year. With Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. Would you want to see a rematch? What are your thoughts on that? Who do you think comes out on top of that?
How long is he suspended for a
He's
certain amount of
suspended
time?
for a year. New York
For a
State
year.
Athletic Commission suspended him for a year. So I would assume that there we go again. He's acting like he fought Drago, but I would assume that he's probably not going to be fighting anywhere else in the interim.
I kind of think Devin Haney is I don't know if he's really legit trying to sue this guy. He maybe just talked to set up the next fight, because you remember what happened with I'm trying to think of the other guy from UFC when John Jones fought the guy that was a Olympic wrestler that he fought I think 3 times, but John Jones tested positive for steroids.
I know. So I can't remember his name either. Yeah, John Jones
Yeah,
keeps popping. I mean, I wouldn't say that to him, but
yeah,
no,
right,
he's
right,
popped a few times. Not good.
right. And you know, they had a large back and forth that set up the trilogy. I think it was 3 times they fought.
I believe so.
If it wasn't 2, it was 3. The back and forth talk, the trash talk, everybody wanted to see them. Those 2 fight each other. I would even pay to see a 4th time because that's how bitter the rivalry was. And I think maybe Devin Haney is setting it up for that second fight. You know, because we know it's wrestling promos in the
Right.
background. They don't really probably hate each other. They're just setting up the next fight. Yeah, I would love to see the next fight because we got to see this dude get his get back, because that's the same thing as the other guy was saying that fought John Jones. Was like, well, fight me when you're clean.
Fight me
See
clean.
what's going to happen when you're clean.
Mm-hmm.
And see, and Ryan Garcia has something to prove as well.
That's right. That's right. Because he's adamant that he didn't intentionally juice, and of course, the amount that was found in his system was really tiny. It was like, I guess, just above the amount that would go ahead and tick off and, you know, alert the test, but not enough. What I read was it wasn't enough to make a difference. But again, you know, definitely
It just sounds like he was just mad he got caught. Yeah, that he was going to do it, but I'm sorry, I put too much in my system. I didn't mean to get caught, which tells me that's why I was kind of go with that whole Saudi thing. Is like, I think people probably cheat all the time with the steroids thing. They just know how much to put in their system to not get caught, and he just messed up.
Could be, man. I can't speak to it. I really don't know. All I know is he popped, and that is a fact. And I'm not gonna say whether or not he did it on purpose because I don't have any money to get sued for slander. So I'll
just say allegedly. You good?
Yeah, absolutely. No, well, we know for sure that he popped. We have no idea whether or not he intentionally took PEDs. All right, so before we finish the boxing topic, this is interesting, right? So we know arguably the biggest name in boxing right now, at least the biggest American name, is Tank Davis, right?
Yes.
The guy he is a showstopper. He is a knockout artist, but he is also an incredibly skilled technician inside the ring. And that's the one thing that really surprised me about him once I started watching him. Like his skill set is amazing, and he's a guy that he does that what they used to say with Floyd and what they used to say with Andre Ward and now Canelo and whatnot, when they say he downloads his opponent. You see him start slow and it looks like he's losing the fight, but he's figuring out what the opponent is going to do, and then boom, he lets the dynamite go and it's good night, right? So what is he, 30-0 with, I want to say 28 knockouts, one of the highest knockout percentages in boxing. My guy Beterbiev has the highest at 20-0 with 20 knockouts. Monster. But anyway, Tank Davis is that dude. He is that dude. He's the boogeyman of boxing. He is one of boxing's brightest stars. And so now the next question is, who's up next? So we're hearing a very good possibility that he fights Lomachenko, which I would freaking love. Lomachenko is another outstanding technician, and it would be weird seeing two southpaws fight at a high level. So I've read recently that that Tank's team has already started breaking down Lomachenko's film, which is like, I guess they really believe that fight's going to happen. And that's crazy that they put in that technical dedication to helping him be as great as he is by they're already breaking down his film. What would your thoughts be on a Lomachenko and Tank Davis fight?
I think it was going to be the same result as it was the last fight. I do not see.
Okay.
I don't see anybody in the foreseeable future that can beat this guy. It's not just he's just skilled. You know, like Floyd Mayweather was skilled.
Yes.
This guy is skilled with dynamite in his hand.
Yeah.
He's what Deontay Wilder should be.
Exactly. Yes. Correct.
Deontay Wilder had skill. He might be the greatest heavyweight champion of all time.
I'm not going to go that far on the strength of his competition was pretty weak, but that's a different story. I'm not the guy that likes to denigrate that, but competition has to matter. Yeah. And Deontay Wilder, man, his era was not great. As soon as he ran into a really good fighter, like that was pretty much it. You know, Tyson Fury took care of him. But no, I totally get what you're saying in terms of Tank being Deontay Wilder with skill, because he's got the brutal knockout power, one punch KO power, but also he can technically break you apart. And that is impressive. You don't normally see that with knockout artists. So yeah, I totally get it. I would love to see him fight Lomachenko. I would say that I would give Tank the advantage, and one of the biggest reasons, I think Lomachenko's like 36 already. Those Eastern Bloc guys, it's tough for them because they don't get to come over here when they're young. So it takes a while before we even see them. Most of the time, we see these dudes when they're already, 30 or older. That's when we first start seeing them. Like, I remember I was a huge Triple G fan and still am to some extent. I guess he's not officially retired, but he's done.
He's on his way out.
Yeah. I was a huge Triple G fan, and I was watching this guy pretty much from his beginning fight in the States, but he had tons of fights overseas in Germany and stuff like that before he fought over here. And I think he had over 400 amateur fights. And so these guys get old before they can get here. So we don't even get to see them in their true athletic prime. So that's tough. But yeah, Lomachenko, man, he's awesome, but well, I think he got robbed against Haney, but that's a different thing. But
I think he got robbed too.
Yeah. But I don't think he can beat Tank either. If nothing, the youth, man, the youth. And then he doesn't have the southpaw advantage because Tank is a southpaw. So Tank knows what that is, and he knows how to deal with that. Although he's not used to fighting them, he knows exactly what they bring to the table. So definitely very interesting.
I think we'll get to see that fight, though. I definitely want to see it, but
me too.
I think it's going to be the same result. I think it'll go 9 rounds at the most.
Okay. You don't think Loma can survive it?
Nope. And then plus the fact, again, you say he's 36.
Yeah.
I don't think his stamina is going to be able to. He's going to hawk him down. Davis likes to hawk his opponents down. He stalks his opponents, wears them down, and then when they think a punch is coming from somewhere else, that's when he hits them with a punch they don't see. That's how he gets them most of the time. He hits them with a punch they don't see, and that's where the knockout comes.
Yeah. And the scary thing too is once Tank realizes you can't hurt him, he just completely walks you down. Like Like the Frank Martin fight. Frank Martin was a significantly bigger fighter, so I'm thinking, okay, he's gonna lean on Tank. He should physically bully him, kind of try the same thing that happened to Wilder against what's my man?
Fury.
Fury, thank you. He should have been leaning all over him. He should have been trying to take his legs, wear him down, and take him into the deep waters, but he didn't do that. And then once Tank realized, like, oh, this dude got no pop, he just walked right through him and put him to sleep. Night night. So yeah, that was tough. So yeah, the other thing, I don't know if you watch It Is What It Is with Cameron and Mace. I don't watch it regularly, but
I
check
see
it
more
out from
clips
time
than
to time.
anything.
Yeah, same. And one of the things they were talking about, I guess it was kind of like a dream fight that they would love to see was, and I wanted to bring this up, was obviously Tank, who we know is a total monster. Here's some of his highlights, or if you're his opponent, lowlights, I guess. So we were just talking about how, look at that, one punch power. That is serious. Yeah, we were just talking about that. So we know what type of animal Tank is. And then they were talking about, and I'm going to show you some B-roll in a second of the opponent that they would love to see him. Oh, look at that. Yeah,
he's already gone.
That's not the one you want. And that's
I think I'm more impressed that the fight that Tank knocked dude down or knocked him out with a kidney shot.
That was Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
He caught him with the liver shot. Yup, look at that. Night. But yeah, so what they were saying on what's the show? It Is What It Is. The dream fight they would like to see is Tank versus this guy, and I would love to see that as well. Boom, missile. I would love to see Tank against Pac-Man. The only thing would be, damn, Ricky Hatton was tough too. The only thing I suppose would be, like, what would be the weight class?
Yeah,
Can Manny still get back down to 140? I don't think so. Can Tank get up to 147? I don't think so. Maybe you put a catch weight in there, 144, 144, something like that, 145. But yeah, you have to figure out something, because well, I think Manny can still fight. I think he's still a whirling dervish, and obviously, yeah, absolutely, Alfred. Yeah, Tank is mean, man. But yeah, Manny he's still a whirling dervish, and he can go. Obviously, he's a lot older, so that would be an issue as well, dealing with his age. But the way he fights, and funny thing, he's another southpaw, so there's that. But the thing is, Manny, what he gave people trouble with so often throughout the years is the fact that he's a dude that throws punches from odd angles too. And like you mentioned earlier with Tank about not seeing the punches coming, Manny is a dude that can do that. Your thoughts on what it might look like? It'll probably never happen, but what it could look like if we managed to work out all the kinks and had a Manny Pacquiao Tank Davis fight.
I can't see Manny Pacquiao coming down to the Davis's weight. There's probably a catch weight somewhere in the middle.
That's what I'm thinking.
Pacquiao. I'm gonna have to ask you this then. Do you think, because there's always been, that's kind of subject we kind of been talking about the last couple people. Do you think he popped?
I don't. I don't,
or anything.
I don't. And the reason why is this. It's funny that was never ever an issue. It wasn't really a concern until Floyd Mayweather said it, and then all of a sudden it became gospel because Floyd said it and blah blah blah. But when Manny said, okay, he'll do it or whatever, and then Floyd is talking about, oh, he's juicing, and then Manny's like, okay, cool. What did he say? I think Manny said something like, we'll both test, and if anybody pops, like, they got to give up a huge chunk of money. And Floyd was like, no. Floyd said no. So I'm like, because I actually read stuff that there's allegations out there that Floyd cheated too. Like, he had dirty samples and this stuff, but he controls the testing in Nevada, which maybe, and I'm not saying he did or did not, but if that is the case, that would be why he never wanted to go fight anywhere else, because he can't control the testing outside of his fiefdom, right? Let's call it that. So, but yeah, I don't think that Manny ever did it, because also Floyd was real quick to get quiet when Manny threw that cease and desist suit on him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is what it is. I guess we'll never know. And what frustrates me too with that, Old, yes, but very experienced, truly great ring craft. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, but what frustrates me with the Floyd and Manny thing, and I know that's not the topic, but when Floyd beat him, Floyd obviously he had the brittle hands, and Manny I think he got surgery on a torn rotator
Yeah,
cuff in his shoulder like the day after the fight.
yeah, that's why
So
I was
he asked Floyd's team like, "Yo, can I get I don't know if it was Toradol or what. I'm gonna say Toradol because that's shot that most athletes use when they get shot up. But he asked
Mhm.
Floyd like, "Yo, can I get a shot in my shoulder before the fight?" Floyd is like, "No." Whatever the same thing was, Floyd got it in his hands before the fight. Same thing.
That I didn't know.
Yeah, so Floyd got to take it, but this is the thing of Floyd controlling everything. Is he an
Mm,
all-time great fighter? Absolutely. Do
mhm.
I respect the way he went about the second half of his career? Absolutely not. But yeah, to your point, I'm sorry I got long-winded there.
No, that's cool.
I don't believe that I don't believe that Manny juiced. If he did, he never popped. So that is what that is, but I don't think he did.
Okay. Only reason I said that, because it's been what? Has it been 3 years since Manny had a fight last?
It's been a while.
Okay. He's 45 years old.
Is he 45 already? Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been 3 years. It gets harder to train and get back into ring shape,
That's right.
especially if you're dropping weight. Because when you drop weight as an athlete, you're also going to lose some muscle mass, which also you're going to lose some fast twitch muscle too, which is going to be important when you're fighting Davis. And that's why I was like, I'm wondering how far down would he have to go down in weight? That's key. How far down would he have to go? And
Great point.
how slow would he be? Would he be as fast? I mean, I know his thing is power, but it's also fast twitch muscle too.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think that's going to be important, and the layoff as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's direct power. I think it's power coming from, to your point, the fast twitch combinations. What's up, Bruce? Glad to see you in here, man. Appreciate you stopping by. Make sure you like and subscribe. Well, you already subscribed, but make sure you like the channel. But anyway, yeah, I think would he be able to, and that's what made Manny so effective, is the punches and bunches, right? The speed, the
Mhm.
coming from odd angles, the constant movement, and doing all of that. So that is a great point. I did not realize he was 45. Now I know it's not the same as actually being in the ring, but the question would be, if he's been sparring all this time, how much does that keep you in relative shape? It's not the same
Mhm.
as fighting, but how much does that keep you in relative shape? Because I think we know he's got the cardio. I think he's supposed to be a very good basketball player. He hoops all the time. I don't I don't know if he's still in government over there in the Philippines. I think he played semi-pro ball over there. Manny.
Have you have you seen clips of him?
I'm just saying I haven't seen clips. No, I
Very
haven't.
good is not the word you would use for him
Okay, so
playing
Manny is not very
basketball.
okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, that would be interesting. If he's been continually sparring with at least decent level opposition all this time, that might to some extent keep him going. But
Yeah,
that's a great point.
he might need the juice. That's kind of the thing I was kind of getting at too. Maybe he might need the juice if he has to go down in weight. He might need it, or any
I
fight
think I saw
period.
it. That's where you were going with it. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's possible. It's definitely possible. All right. What we're gonna do right now? We're gonna go ahead and wrap up that basketball topic, and I'm sorry, that boxing topic, because we love to talk boxing here on the Format Podcast, among other things. So, let's go ahead. If you have anything to say, you want to make any commentary on the boxing, the state of boxing, the fighters we talked about, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, other fights you might want to see going forward, dream fights. Go ahead, give us a call, 904-219-8264. 904-219-8264. If you're just coming in, make sure you go over to the YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you like this show so we can get it out to as many people as possible. But yep, go ahead, give us a call. Let's get it. All right. Well, let's go ahead and looks like we're not going to get any calls on this topic. So let's go ahead and we'll take it over to the big story of the day. Y'all know what that is unless you live under a rock. And this one, this has a lot of angles to it. And so we're definitely going to discuss this. So NBA time. NBA draft happened Wednesday night and Thursday afternoon. And LeBron James Jr., aka Bronny James, was taken with the 55th pick overall by the Los Angeles Lakers. And I got a lot of thoughts on this, but I could go all day. So I'm gonna let my main man, Big Red, go ahead and open up. Take your time, give your thoughts on this topic.
Okay. All right. Let me try to unpack this. See, this thing with nepotism. This is where I'm gonna get at with it.
Let's do it.
I am against how Bronny James got on this team. Okay.
Correct.
But it is not because of nepotism. Nepotism is a good thing. If my son wants to work with me, let's just say a 9 to 5, and I own a Lowe's or something, and I get him to come on with me at Lowe's working as, I don't know, a stalker or something. He's going to go through training like everybody else. He's going to go and do the computer modules and learn the ins and outs of working at Lowe's. And then I'm going to put him on the floor. See, he can skip the middleman as far as having to fill out an application and going to talk to HR. Hey, I got you. I got you a job. We got an opening. But I'm going to make sure you are qualified for the job. Here's where I have a problem with this. It again is with Bronny James. It's not nepotism. It's how he got there. It's who he passed over and how he got there. I'm going to tell you something. Well, I'm gonna get to it where people are not talking about this whole thing with Bronny James. Like, God bless the kid. It is a big story that he's going to play with his father. Great. But is it really his dream to be on the Lakers with his dad?
There you go.
There is LeBron James's dream.
Exactly. We're gonna get to that.
I'm gonna say one thing that no one seems to be mentioning. No one. Do we remember when he first got to, what was it, USC? The boy had a heart attack.
Yeah. People are mentioning that. They are.
Okay. I don't hear a lot of people, but okay. He had a heart attack. So if I want you to work somewhere where you're at risk of having another heart attack or another medical issue, I'm not going to use my power to put you there to fulfill my own ego. And we know it has nothing to do with what he really, Bronny wants to do. It's all about this stupid bragging point. Well, Michael Jordan didn't have his sons playing the NBA.
That's right.
He's the GOAT.
Yup.
And I don't know how that's a bragging point. That's just, you just use your power to get your son, not like Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Jr.'s dad, who both were great players and they got in on their own merit. That is impressive to me because that's because of talent, not because of power. And you know, if people, I hate the explanation when people say, well, nepotism happens everywhere. It's great you know, that we actually get to do it one time. So because someone else does it, you should do it.
Correct.
Because they also had slavery too.
We complain about it when other people do it.
Yeah. So, that doesn't make it right because somebody else. That's a horrible argument.
Yeah, that was definitely in my notes, man. You hacked my computer. You stole my notes.
No. We just great smart minds think alike. You know.
I feel you, man. I feel you. No, you're absolutely right. So the first thing I want to say, I heard your point about your son and Lowe's, right? And I get that. I have a son too. I have two kids. I have a son. I have a daughter. My son, I think it's very important for men, especially, to understand that in this world, you get what you earn, right? The expression used to be, you eat what you kill, but, you get what you earn. And so even if I'm in that position, if I understand that my son is not ready or has not earned it yet, I'm not going to hand it to him because I don't believe in that, one. And I also believe that I'm doing him a disservice by putting him in a position he's not yet ready for. Now, one of my biggest things here is my last name is Hope. So if this was Bronny Hope, just to your point, coming off major cardiac incident, last year, right? And again, God bless the kid. This is not about Bronny. From everything I've heard, everything I've seen, and he came out and said, "This is my dad's dream, not mine." Just want to hear my name called. I just want to go put in the work and do it. Right? He's
He
saying
said
all
that.
the right. Yes, yes. So he's saying all the right things. But remember, we've been hearing LeBron say for like
Yeah.
the last 5 or 6 years that it was his dream to play with his son. Right? We
Mhm.
know LeBron James is extremely calculating. Everything he does, he has
Yeah.
thought about the long game, right? And so he knows that what is it going to be, right? One of the things is this with the ridiculous entry into the GOAT argument, which I do not believe he deserves to be in. I've talked about that ad nauseum. That's something different. Um, Anybody listening, if you don't know my thoughts on LeBron and the GOAT argument, plenty of shows on the channel really breaking all that down. Anyway, the thing is this: when it comes down to it, LeBron, how he sees this going is, and you've already heard the Nick Wrights and the Shannon Sharps of the world saying it. LeBron James has been able to play at such a high level for so long that it's incredible that he's still here, not just hanging on, but being an all NBA caliber player, and his son is in the league with him on his team, right? Everyone is making a huge deal about this. Me as a journalist, is it awesome because it's a historical occurrence? Absolutely, right?
No.
From a storyline perspective, I totally get it. Like, we love stories as journalists, and I get that. But to your point, how it came about, I really don't like it. One of the reasons I really don't like it is LeBron James and Rich Paul and Clutch Sports basically openly controlling the Los Angeles Lakers, right? I don't know if you heard the clip uh, maybe a week or two ago where Rich Paul said, he was saying something. He said, if we wanted to, we would just force the Lakers to take Bronny at number 17. I'm like, whoa. Like, it's one thing to be an extremely powerful agent, but when have you heard a powerful agent talk like this openly before? That's absurd that you would, you guys have so little shame that you just come straight out and say, yo, we would force the team to do what? You would force? What?
Mm.
What? You know what I'm saying? But the Lakers sold their soul to LeBron. When you deal with this guy, you know what you're getting. But they seem more concerned about the show than they do about the product on the floor. And that's a shame, because Dr. Buss, he understood the value of the show, but he also understood winning and how important that
Exactly.
was, right? The show, he wasn't going to have the show at the expense of winning. He wanted to win. So the other thing is this: I truly believe that Bronny, again, no shot at Bronny, but as of this point, he didn't deserve to get drafted, right? But less than 5 points a game, 36% from the floor, 28% from three, or 29% from three last year. Like, in a Pac-12, that was bad. USC wasn't great. They had some decent guards. I was talking to my boy about this earlier. They had some decent guards, but they weren't great. He should have been able to do better than that. And so, if he wasn't LeBron James's son, like, and I'll play a clip in a minute, where have we seen historically a guy who's in college in the States average less than 5 points a game and have what Stephen A says, the temerity, the unmitigated gall to declare for the draft, right? I don't
Just
even think he was that interested. I think LeBron had so much to do with that. Go ahead.
yeah. I was just about to say, to put a little extra meat on that. Pause. Jordan's son averaged 8 points per game in college.
That was coming too. Yup.
So that means he should have been able to go to the NBA as well.
Correct. And the funny thing is, Mike, in fairness, Mike did try to get his son on North Carolina, and Roy Williams told him, Mike, man, I'm sorry. Like, he's
What?
Yeah. Roy Williams told him.
Carolina connection didn't come through.
Nah, Carolina connection didn't come through. But you respect that though. Roy Williams clearly was not a coward. So he wasn't, he's like, hey, I'm about trying to win with this organization here. And unfortunately, your son is not the caliber of player that's going to be able to help us do that. I don't know if those were his exact words, obviously, but he told him like he couldn't be there.
And
so
why this
the further
hurts more?
frustration. Why is that?
Because sports is supposed to be the last standing meritocracy.
Yo, I swear you hacked my computer. That's literally my next note that I was about to bring up. Jesus, man, you're killing me. No, in all seriousness, you're right. Now, in many cases, it's not, but it's supposed to. What's going on, M Hill? Appreciate you stopping in, man. I think you're new, so if you haven't already, please make sure you go ahead, subscribe to the channel, like the show. Definitely would appreciate that. But yeah, I don't believe that Bronny was a true 5-star. There have been multiple reports that he's never been the best player on any team he's been on. So there's that.
No, he's maybe 3-star at the most, if that.
Right.
He was getting ready to transfer because he wasn't getting enough playing time, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I think he was looking at Pitt and some other spots because I think LeBron James' old either high school or AAU coach is coaching at Pitt or something to that effect. Don't quote me, but something to that effect I heard. But anyway, I think so. To the point you made, it's very frustrating because sports is supposed to be the last meritocracy. However, it's unfortunate. I don't think it is. And the more and more we see the money grow, we see the politics grow. So it's not just like,
you're right.
Yeah. So it sucks, man. It should be really, when we talk about it, who could go out there and bust who down and give who the business. It's not like that anymore. There's a lot more to it.
Yeah, because as you can see, the politics is going into just making the debate on who is the GOAT. It's not based on just gameplay anymore. It's trying to control the media and what we see out there now. What we think about certain players or certain decades now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're going to talk about that as
well.
well.
With the 90s.
Yeah, don't even, man. I totally debunked that nonsense on a different episode. But it's foolish. But yeah, it's crazy. And again, this is such a nuanced discussion. And let me be clear here. I want to say again, this is not me, and I'm pretty sure I don't want to speak for him, but I'm pretty sure it's not Big Red taking a shot at Bronny. This is not what we're talking about. And I think I can say he agrees with me. This is about LeBron and the fact that LeBron is an attention whore. I mean, that's what it is. Plain and simple. The guy, he must have everything he does. He must have the attention on him. And I've mentioned this, I think, on the previous show and whatnot. Watch, you are going to hear it. You're going to hear it during this season. Oh, look at LeBron. He looks so rejuvenated. He's out there with his son, and he's the first player to ever play with his son. And look at the son, and look at LeBron and the son. Oh, alley-oop from Bronny James to LeBron James. And we've never seen anything like this in LeBron and Bronny, right? And he's going to love that because he's so obsessed with controlling the attention and the cameras and being a, hey, look at me guy. So we're going to see it. But moving on a little bit. Yeah, my bad. Go ahead.
I was going to say one thing. If I had a problem with nepotism, I would be mad at how he set up Rich Paul. Rich Paul, his man, he grew up with him, played with him. He set him up for success. Rich Paul went to college and learned and went through the necessary steps to become an agent. And I applaud him for that.
Yes.
That is what I love that.
I do too.
He went through the necessary steps for that.
Right. And so that's why I don't have any issue with him and Rich Paul. I think he got him into CAA. LeBron got him in CAA, and Rich Paul worked in CAA for like 6 years learning the business from the ground up. So I got no issue with that. That's cool. This, I think, is a different situation. But moving on with the nepotism piece, because it is rampant in the NBA. Look at the Bucks bench. Thanasis Antetokounmpo, he gets no burn, and he's not very good. But one thing about Giannis, he's all about family, and he makes sure his family is taken care of. I think he had an ad campaign or something. I think Adidas was trying to sign him before he got with Nike. And he's like, yo, you got a deal for my brother? And Adidas was like, no, it's just you, Giannis. He's like, okay, I'll be right back. That was it. And so Giannis, very, very heavily family-oriented guy. And so he's all about nepotism. You see Seth Curry. I don't think he got drafted, which is crazy because as a freshman at Liberty, he led the nation in scoring. And then he was a very good player at Duke under Coach K before Coach K retired. He didn't even get drafted, but he somehow made it on the Warriors as an undrafted rookie free agent. Somehow. Somehow. So there's that. You look
he's
at
worked his tail off though to earn his roster spots throughout now.
Oh yeah. He's a quality role player in his league. Yeah, absolutely. Austin Rivers. Now I think that one people are going to point to that, but I think that's faulty. He was the number 10 pick in the draft, not number 55. He's not coming off a freaking cardiac incident, and he averaged 15 a game at Duke. So, like, another very good player, right? Mm-hmm. Patrick Ewing Jr. played 4 years in college. Tim Hardaway Jr. went to Michigan, put the time in. These guys played more in college and were better in college even though they weren't superstars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, nepotism definitely happens. And it happens with the Buss family with the Lakers. I mean, I get it.
Great point. Great point. Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing in pro sports. A lot of the coaches, a lot of the front office people are all related. I think there was a crazy story. Like, it's some absurd percentage of the NBA front or NFL front office people are all related, whether it's through marriage or so on and so forth. We saw Belichick hire his sons. We saw Pete Carroll hire his sons. Like, we see it a lot. But the thing is, those guys, to that point, while it is nepotism, they grow up in the game. But you can say Bronny grew up in the game too. So there's that.
Well, I'm the only thing I'm gonna shoot back with that, because of the people who are saying, okay, yeah, there's nepotism going throughout the game, and so it's our turn to finally do it. Are you going to complain when we're trying to get owners, black owners? I don't think we have any right now, majority owners in the major sports. Now, Michael Jordan was the only major owner, if I remember correctly, in the major sports in America.
Correct.
Are you going to complain when the good old boys look out for themselves in a nepotistic type way and don't allow us in there based on our merit as to be able to run a sports league or a sports team, rather? Are we going? We're not going to complain. We're just going to say, "Well, it's nepotism. It happens, so they deserve their spot in the good old boys in the NFL, more so the NFL, but NBA too. I'm guessing the MLB, baseball as well. Are we just going to say, "Oh, well, it's nepotism. It happens"? Are we going to complain about that? If that's the case, then fine. But we can never complain that we never can get a spot as an owner of a team if we're just okay with nepotism running willy-nilly throughout all these sports leagues.
Well, you will see it when LeBron is done, because he's going to be an owner. There's no way around that. He's going to be one. Whether he ends up in an ownership group with Magic to take over the Lakers, or whether he gets the majority stake in the Las Vegas franchise, which we know is coming, LeBron's going to be an owner. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. Yeah. So earlier, we were kind of talking about the media and this whole Bronny situation and how it leans more towards LeBron, which everything does. And I thought this was really interesting. And so Lakers great James Worthy, he played obviously he played for the Lakers, won 4 championships with them, and he works for them now. I think he does color, right? He's an analyst for Laker basketball. Yeah, absolutely. And so this is funny. He got caught talking about this whole thing from LeBron and the coaching, and then of course Bronny, he got caught on a hot mic prior to the draft. And I thought this was really interesting because he he made some interesting comments. Check it out.
And then they got the right coaches in there, and so they did it right. They took their time. They waited while we were trading Ingram, Randall.
Yeah, totally.
Fucking trading everything. A Pope gone.
Firing everybody.
The brother up in Sacramento, Malik.
Yep, everybody gone.
We were trading and then we wasn't getting anything for it. Westbrook gone.
Everybody.
So that the ink will.
Luke gone. Frank gone.
The ink will lead back. To the problem, which is in that infrastructure.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, I got you.
3rd and 5 years. If you want to go before that, you could go 4 and 8, because Luke was 3 years, right? Yeah.
It's all happening.
3 and 5 sounds crazier to me.
It's all happening when Phil came here.
4 and 8's a lot. Perez, we did the math. 3rd coaching hire show in 5 years.
What's up, B? How you doing?
And then 4 and 8 if you count Luke.
Good to be
that
back,
was 3 years before.
All week. Well,
16 was Luke.
And Thursday. Back to back.
It's too much.
Yeah, man. They don't need me for that.
Do you want me this close to Geet?
Who we gonna be waiting for in the second day?
Dude, just wait till you fucking have to talk about it that night. We're gonna be dying, dude. It's gonna hurt us.
Well, he's the greatest young player ever right now. Bronny, that's what I'm gonna say.
So we heard him. Yeah, we heard him on the hot mic, and he listened to how he knows he has to lie because of the power that LeBron James and Clutch Sports holds over the organization that he loves so much and literally gave blood, sweat, and tears for, and was a major component in bringing 4 championships too in the 1980s. He knows he has to lie. You heard what he said about Bronny? He's the greatest He's the greatest young player in the league. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I seriously wouldn't be surprised if we saw that James Worthy was no longer on the broadcast team next year.
Yeah. He might get cut pretty soon.
Yeah.
Some of everybody these hot mics. Nobody just take your mic off. Just turn it off completely. Because I think you're going to end up showing something eventually with Rachel Nichols. She got fired and lost her job because of a hot mic issue.
She sure did. That's right. Yup. She sure did. That's right. And when she was at ESPN and she got caught talking about Maria Taylor. That's right.
Go to another room or something.
Yeah, do something for real. Yeah, so it's crazy. So that speaks to again more of the media power and the control that LeBron James has, and it's not good for the Lakers, man. It's not good because they sold their soul as a basketball organization to this dude because he is a real life Geppetto, really pulling the strings. And as you mentioned, Rachel Nichols, we're going to bring that up. So LeBron James, King James, King Petty James, he found out about this. Rachel Nichols was discussing Bronny James, and she made a fair assessment of him. Will he ever be a star? I don't think so. It does not seem like just his size and some of the other things about the way he plays. I don't think he's a future star player, Nichols said during the recent episode of the show Undisputed. Now, tell me, does that sound disrespectful? Does that sound malicious? Or does
She's
that
an
just sound
analyst?
right? That sounds
She
like
gets
basketball.
paid to tell the truth.
Correct.
And people will call that hating. What are you
Yes.
supposed to say?
Well, if you don't worship LeBron and kneel down at the altar and wash his feet and all that, then you're a hater. Trust me, I know. But
Just prove them wrong. I mean,
he's not built that
everybody
way.
has their detractors. Prove them wrong if you are not this type of person. If you're better than that, prove them wrong. That's what you're supposed to do.
But the thing is, she didn't attack Bronny. She talked about what we have seen thus far of him as a player and what we have seen thus far translates to on the NBA level. Bronny himself said that he sees kind of like a Derek White, Drew Holiday type role. That's what he sees himself being, right? That's not
Drew
a superstar.
Holiday was an all-star.
Yeah, he was. But I think he's talking about on the defensive end and then being able to contribute offensively. That's what I think.
Bronny is how big? He's what, 6'1", 6'2"?
6'2". Yeah, he's 6'2".
I thought I might have heard somebody fudge the height a little bit.
Maybe he's athletic
out.
though. He's athletic. You know, he can
Okay.
jump. Yeah, he can run. He can jump. But so she wasn't rude. She wasn't disrespectful. But guess what? LeBron got wind of that, and LeBron unfollowed her on Twitter or X or whatever we're talking about. Like this dude. Are you a little kid? Like that's so petty and juvenile. Like what's up with you, man? Why can't
you know what I'm thinking now as we're doing all these talking points?
Mm-hmm.
The Los Angeles Lakers have now turned into the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh,
they do no longer care about winning. They care about being in the paper, about being the new story, whether it's bad or good. That is what Dallas is. They are now the Dallas Cowboys.
I never even thought about that. That's crazy. That's a great analogy. I never even thought about that. Ding, ding. That's a great analogy. Yeah. Matter of fact, you get this.
Every year, we talk about them. Do they have the potential to win? They'll be the 11th or 10th seed, and they have the potential to win a championship if they just make this trade here. Or they won 8 games in a row. Look out.
Yep.
Same thing with Dallas, except Dallas actually had a pretty decent season in the regular season. But I was waiting for the tick bomb to go off, and then the playoffs, they failed. And then we're here to win championships. That's what Dallas is supposed to do. That's what the Steelers are supposed to do.
LeBron is here to get attention and stack up stats. He's not here to win championships anymore. He knows he's not going to, you know. But yeah, that's great. That's a great analogy. Great analogy, man. And so, you know, we know that anybody who is honest about LeBron, they get the silent treatment, they get the stink face. Kendrick Perkins finally woke up. He started being honest about LeBron about a month and a half ago, and that was it for their friendship. Right. Right. You know, and it's wild because Kendrick Perkins and Shannon Sharp were literally a couple months ago on First Take arguing about who's been on LeBron's bandwagon longer. Like, come on, man. Like literally arguing on national TV.
Like two children arguing like, mommy, look, watch what I can do. I can jump higher off the steps.
Yeah. And then when you finally you're forced because of his behavior to say something about him, he gets upset and he sends Rich Paul to reprimand you and he unfriends you. Like, are y'all serious right now? But this is how the dude gets down. And now you can't be honest about Bronny either. And that's going to be a problem because, again, Bronny is not an elite NBA prospect. There's going to be a lot of criticism of him in the media. And, rightly so. When he does well, you say he does well. When he doesn't, you got to say that too. And LeBron is going to be in attack mode on anyone who comes at his kid. But
that's another thing too. That's another thing where people were talking about Bron James getting on that team. As a father, you also supposed to shield your son from getting embarrassed and insults and stuff because it's coming. He's in Los Angeles, one of the biggest markets out there. They're going to talk about him if he does not play good, which I don't want him to play bad, but it looks apparent that he's not that great. People are going to say bad things about you. You're supposed to shield your child from insults. That's also part of being a parent, not just getting someone a job just for the hell of it.
So that's true, but Bronny is also a man now. Like, he's gonna have to fight his own battles. He's gonna have to stand up for himself. Because think about it, when people are playing against him, they're gonna go at him hard, and they're gonna attack him. Remember when see, man, I don't need to have you on the show anymore, man. You co-opted all my. Nah, I'm joking. No, but it's gonna be exactly that. They are going to be in attack mode when they see this dude. It's gonna be like food. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't do it to your dad, so we're gonna do it to you. Food. And then they're gonna kill him and they're gonna say, go get your dad. What's he gonna do? He old now, So it's like we're gonna see this stuff happen. We're gonna see this stuff happen.
You know what you're gonna see next year happen? I predict it right now. There's gonna be more people kicked out in the crowd next year because they're gonna say derogatory things to his son.
And these dudes are so soft today, man. And it's funny, like that's true because you see how LeBron freaks out when people talk trash to him. So imagine now as a father, like you said, that protective instinct kicks in. They're talking trash to Bronny. He's not going to be able to deal with that. He's nuts. He's not going to be able to. This is going to be crazy, man. I think it's doing Bronny a disservice. It would be one thing if you grease his kids for him to get into the league, but you grease his kids for him to come play with you because that's what you want. That was your dream. It's not good. He's not going to be able to grow into a man the way he should be able to, independent of his parents and the way we all should be able to. Not good at all. But I was listening to Fox Sports Radio earlier today, and there's a pretty good podcast I listen to on the weekends called Up on Game. And it has LeVar Arrington, Plaxico Burress, and normally TJ Houshmandzadeh. TJ Houshmandzadeh, he wasn't on today, but those two were, and they had some really good comments to make on this whole situation. So this one's a little long. It's about 3 minutes, but I want to go ahead and play that, and then we're going to come back and break that down some more.
I would ask you this. Does it being historical, it happening in a Lakers uniform, that's great. But do you feel as though Bronny James getting drafted at 55 was like was it a legitimate draft pick even with knowing the influence of LeBron James, or is this one of those things where it's like, come on? Like, is it a come on moment, or is it a like, legit? Like, yeah, the kid can ball. 55, there's only, 58 or so picks in the NBA draft. Like, yeah, give the guy a go.
Man, it's a little bit of both for me. I think LeBron, obviously, had everything to do with what transpired with as far as the Lakers taking him at 55. But at the same time, the draft wasn't really that good. This was not a great draft to be drafted at 55th. I think really says a lot. And they were saying that basically Rich Paul was picking up the phone, calling teams, don't draft him before 55. He's going to Australia. Is Bronny James that great of a player that an organization would not take him because they were afraid that their draft pick was going to Australia? Come on, man. We got to stop that.
He wasn't getting drafted.
We really were. We got to stop stop that.
He wasn't getting drafted.
Oh, you're threatening us that he's going to Australia if we draft him? Trust me, he's not that dominant or going to be that great of a basketball player for a GM in an organization not to draft him. Come on, man. I mean, I don't know
if they wanted him, they're going to draft him, and then we'll trade. We'll take your rights. We'll take your rights.
But I don't know, man. I'm gonna get to what the biggest deal to me about this whole thing is.
Okay,
we are going to do everything for our kids. It doesn't matter what it is in life. We are going to help them accomplish whatever we need to do as parents, because that is what we are supposed to do. But I'm saying I have nothing to say about LeBron James. I think he's a good basketball player. Do I think he was a player that should have been drafted? I do not. But I think the position that LeBron has put this young man in, it's unfair to him. Because here he is, a guy that everybody's saying he's not an NBA player. He averaged 4 points in college. There's not one player in college basketball that would average 4 points and 2 rebounds and enter himself into the NBA draft
as a freshman.
Not one player in the world would ever do that, but he can do it because of who his father is.
A lot of great points there. I'll let you go ahead and respond to some of that before I.
Well, one thing I'm gonna say is I think if anybody did draft Bronny James, and I know that some of Rich Paul threatened he would go to Australia of all places, but if they did draft him, they were going to use that as a way to probably get LeBron James to go to their team, since LeBron James was opting out of his contract. So like, hey, if you come to Brooklyn, we'll say Brooklyn. Drafted Bronny, you come to Brooklyn. Hey, you got to. If Bronny James goes to Brooklyn, then LeBron, you should come with him too. So then they can get ticket sales and then have LeBron and the Bronny show in Brooklyn. I think that may be the only reason any NBA team would have drafted Bronny James, because it wasn't because of the talent; it was because they put butts in seats.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel you on that. But I remember a couple of weeks ago, Rich Paul came out with the commentary that. Drafting Bronny definitely was not a sure bet. That's why LeBron had backed off of the whole thing of just wanting to play with his son. But I think we know that was, that was just smoke, right? And so it was funny. Paul Pierce was saying that the Celtics should have drafted Bronny just to troll the Lakers. Yeah, they should have done that. And Bill Simmons was saying that the Celtics should have drafted Bronny, basically held him hostage for whatever the Lakers wanted, right? So he was saying
that would have been smart.
But I tell you what, though, Brad Stevens is not that dude. Danny Ainge would have done it because he hates the Lakers that much, as he should, right? He's been through the wars with those guys when it was serious. But Brad Stevens, he's not that guy, so I can't even see it. Nino, what's good, brother? Good to see you in here. Austin Reeves' agent did the same thing. Interesting, but. My thing is, how can your agent do that if you're not good enough? Like Austin Reeves coming out of college was not good enough for his agent to do something like that. And to Plaxico Burris' point that you just heard, Bronny is not good enough. If he's going to Australia, okay, so what? Go, because here's the deal at the end of the day, and Rich Paul knows this, go to Australia. When you come back, I drafted you. I still have your rights. So you can go. Mm-hmm. That's fine. Deal with it,
Would that take any cap hit, you think? If I know you'd be at the end of the bench, if anything, would they take any cap hit if a team took him in on the draft, and they say they wanted to be petty and just want to keep his rights? Would they take any cap hit for that?
I don't know. I really don't know how that works. I couldn't speak to it. I guess that's something that I need to look into. I really don't know. Alfred McLean says, and I think he's going back to what we were talking about earlier with James Worthy, broadcasters have a system, mute mic the moment the program is done. Has it occurred to you that it was a deliberate conversation? He's had enough of the, thank you, James Worthy. Now that's interesting. So I'm never going to thank James Worthy because he was instrumental in the Lakers beating my Celtics twice in the finals in the 80s. But I do get your point. No, that's a great point. That is very interesting. Oh, wow.
So you think he thinks he did it on purpose and hopefully that it would be heard. Is that what he's saying?
I think that's what he's saying, that it could possibly have been a deliberate conversation. And I think that's an interesting perspective that I had never even considered.
He wants to get fired.
Maybe he's sick of the BS around there, that because he's looking at the Lakers and he's like, these aren't my Lakers. You know what I'm saying? Yes, things will change in time, but he's like, these aren't my Lakers. My Lakers were about winning, and we brought the show with the winning, but what good was the show if we lost? Because think about this. Magic, who we know pretty much the greatest, if not the second greatest showman in the history of the NBA, right? There is a video, you might be old enough to remember this. I used to watch it when I was probably around high school. NBA Superstars, right? And it had
I remember
players, right? So I think it was NBA Superstars 2, and Magic had his video. And I think the song was I Will Remember You by Patty Austin. That's why I like that song to this day, because every time I hear it, I'm seeing the Magic highlight reel playing in my head. So anyway, at the beginning, there is a clip and a voiceover from Magic, and he says, you play this game for 3 reasons: to win, to have fun, and to make people happy. So listen to the order that Magic says: to win, to have fun, and to make people happy. People think because Magic was smiling all the time and because of the Showtime glitz and glamour style that Magic wasn't about winning. Like, read the autobiography that just came out about him last year. Magic was a psycho when it came to being a competitor. He wanted to beat you
more so than Mike.
Yeah, because Mike, Larry Bird tells the story when they went to Barcelona with the Dream Team, that he had to tell Magic, like, it's over now, it's his time, because Magic did not want to give it up to Jordan. He didn't. He was like, oh, nah. And that's when Mike told him, there's a new sheriff in town and all that, because he had just come off back-to-back titles. But Magic was not trying to give it up, and Larry was like, yo, this guy's something different. It's not our time anymore. It's him now. So Magic understood, just like Worthy understands, that the winning has to come first and then everything else after. And I don't think that Jeannie Buss understands that the way Jerry Buss did.
Right.
Yeah.
Or probably her brother that she kind of kicked out.
Right. He was probably even worse.
Yeah.
But he's probably laughing now, like, yeah, you kicked me out, but look at this. You sold your soul to LeBron, and now look what's happening to the organization. So
she got a bubble chip out of it. So we gonna count that one? We gonna count that one?
Nah, we don't count that one. Only Lakers fans count that. Nobody else counts that.
So is it 18-16 now, Boston?
Hey, that's what I call it. Nah, man, nobody counts that bubble chip, man. Excuse me.
Yo, Boston's my team too. I ain't know you knew that either. So
no, I didn't know that. Listen, everybody watching, I seriously did not know that. This is weird. So we're both Celtics fans, and as you can see, we've been right in line on a lot of the ways we look at things, and I had no idea that it was going to happen like this. So just so you know how he ended up on the show tonight, we follow each other on Instagram, and I found his channel on YouTube, and I started watching it. I was like, okay, I like a lot of this stuff my man is kicking. So I reached out to him, and we just, been going back and forth a little bit, playing some phone tag and stuff. And so here we go. So, but I had no idea that we were this much in line on a lot of the different topics. And then, of course, now finding out he's also a Celtics fan. I thought that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Number 18.
Number 18. I'll take it. I know my man Brian Transform, he might not be listening right now, but I know he's mad. He was on with us the other night, and he was Lakered out, and he's not happy. He was not happy about number 18.
That's how Dallas fans feel. Exactly how Lakers fans feel. Every year, it's our year. It's our year.
Oh man, that's a great
all about entertainment. LeBron James is Jerry Jones. That's the
my
parallel
God.
there.
So that's so funny that you say that. This is really getting scary, because I've said it on the show multiple times, that when LeBron James becomes an owner, he will be the Jerry Jones of the NBA.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah. I said that multiple times. You can see it. You can see it because he's got to be in front of the camera all the time. And everything is look at me, hear what I'm saying. I need to be the center of attention, not you. And, quick side note to that, I think it's going to be so funny that he was the quote unquote author of the player empowerment movement. But I want to see what's going to happen when he's an owner and he gets a player who wants to have power. I want to see how that's going to go, because he's not just going to hand it over to the player.
Right.
Right. Then we're gonna see the hypocrisy come out. So I'm very enthused to see where that goes from here. But yeah, so this whole Bronny James thing, man, this is tough. And at the end of the day, I think the final takeaway is that it was disingenuous and it's unfair to Bronny as a young player and a young man who's trying to make his way in this world. And I think it's gonna be tough on him.
That's been my argument. And I'm not against him putting his son in it. I think it's more unfair for his son because he's not prepared to be in the league yet. He didn't go through the proper channels to get to the league. I don't have a problem with his dad helping him get there and get him in a certain place, but he's not trained well. Let's just say that.
Yeah. All right, so we'll leave it there. Really good topic, good stuff. So what I want to do now, I'm gonna go ahead, open up these phone lines. Really hope I can hear some feedback from some of you guys regarding this Bronny James and LeBron James topic. 904-219-8264. 904-219-8264. Give us a shout. Let us know your thoughts. Are we way off base here? Are we just quote unquote old head haters? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Go ahead and 904-219-8264. Nino, I know you always got something to say, man, so I'm sure you'll be calling in. But yeah, let's hear it. Waiting on you. So I really didn't think about the possibility that James Worthy deliberately left his mic on saying that stuff. That's interesting. That is not an angle I had considered. That's an interesting piece right there.
I don't think Rachel Nichols did, though.
Well, no,
I mean, with her other incident. I mean, you know.
Nah. Oh no. Nah. Yeah, that ESPN piece. Nah, she knows she couldn't say that. Nah, that was she got caught out there, and
you know it's bad because James Worthy is like dude who used to call the Celtics games. I don't know. I think he passed away some years ago, but yeah, that dude was a homer.
Yes,
he nothing. I mean, I'm with the Celtics, but you know, somebody could a Celtic player could punch somebody in the face, and he'd be like, "Well, the guy's face shouldn't have been in the way."
Right.
Yeah, and James Worthy is about close to him, and to hear him talk bad about someone who's going to be a Laker, Bronny James, next year, it must be bad. He must be frustrated.
There you go, Nino. What's up, my man? What you got, bro?
What's up, man? You know I ain't calling in,
man. I knew you was gonna call, man. I was waiting for you. So, what's your thoughts on this, man? I know you're a LeBron guy, so let's hear it.
I'm a LeBron guy. So now this is what they call a nepotism.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. This is that at its finest, if that's what it is. So he wouldn't have probably been drafted.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But he probably was good enough on his potential to get a look at one of them summer league teams or whatever. So my thing is, but it's players in this draft that do average like 5 points that went like at number 23. So they saying the draft not that deep. They say that's realistically the thing. And Gilbert Arenas said this months ago about the draft, because I always wanted this, how a player could go to college 4 years and be averaging like 20 and stuff, and they don't go, like it's been not just this year, like how they don't go before players that average like 8 points, like the freshmen. So he say what the NBA is wanting, what the NBA do is a lot of times they draft on the potential. So they rather take an 18-year-old, 19-year-old that possibly could be better instead of taking the guy that could ball better. I don't understand it. I don't know how that. I don't think they do that in the NFL.
No, no. In the NFL, obviously potential is important, but you have to see measurables and you have to see some production. NFL is a totally different ballgame. That's a different animal entirely.
And you have to play 3 years in the NFL. You have.
Oh, that's true too. You have to play 3 years in college. That's right.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm. So that allows you to develop more and gives more tape. So it's less reliant on just potential, but more on potential plus production.
Yeah. So based on that, and on the far as, I want to know what about this perspective. Do anybody ever wonder what did Bron tell the Lakers when he came? What made Bron? Do you remember? Now we all love Kobe and all that, but do we remember how the Lakers was after Kobe? Like right in Kobe last years when he got in. Do we remember what the Lakers organization were doing?
The Lakers were bad. I think it was 5 or 6 years straight without a playoff berth. They were bad.
Sure.
But what I'll push back on that, Nino, because I think I know where you're going with this. The problem is the Lakers at least had some youth and they had a visual future. They were trying to build that, and LeBron has completely destroyed that.
Yeah, because I mean,
the Lakers ain't never. My bad. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the time that LeBron has been there, Corey, let's say we count the bubble championship. They have been almost dead last in getting into the playoffs. Let's also look at if they didn't have this new thing where if you were in 10th or 9th position, you had to play in tournament, they might not even gotten to the playoffs.
That's right.
So they would have been almost in the same position as Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball were with the Lakers.
That's a great point. Those guys didn't have the play-in tournament. That's a great point. So we're saying now, well, since LeBron came, at least they've got a championship and they're getting into the playoffs regularly. But
2 top 75 players.
Yes, that's a good point.
Go ahead. When Westbrook was there, you had 3.
Yep.
Westbrook. Now I don't know what that was. In the basketball, I don't know what that Westbrook. I don't understand that.
Nino, didn't I tell you? Listen, real talk. What that was, and this is very simple. That was LeBron saying, "Oh, another top 75 player. Yeah, I need him too." It's always a matter of LeBron saying, "Let me get the most talent I can possibly stack to ease my way to another championship." That's all it was. He didn't. So for the brilliant basketball mind that he's supposed to be, he didn't think about this is a terrible fit. But guess what? When it started going bad, he turned his back on my man and made him the scapegoat because that's what he does. Go ahead.
I don't think Westbrook was. I mean, I believe it was a terrible fit, but I've never been a real Russell Westbrook fan. Like right. I didn't blame Kevin Durant for leaving because he's supposed to be a point guard. He like one of the worst point guards. If you love point guards, like if you believe point guards got a real job, like orchestrating other players. I didn't never like Russell Westbrook, but I was going with the LeBron thing was, do you think they promised him something? Like, if you come here and turn this franchise around, because I understand the youth for the Lakers, but from my understanding, the way they people talk to, the Lakers have always bought star players. They never really wanted to wait and build with the young players and accept the losing.
That's true.
So
that is true.
And people always say Bron calculate. Even his team say that. Say Bron don't do nothing without really thinking about two or three steps ahead.
Oh yeah.
So
that's how he
they
moves.
promise Bron like, hey, if you come do this for us and you get LA back relevant, we'll give you more power than we'll let you make some of these moves. Did he know?
That's very possible.
My son's coming up.
No, that's very possible.
See,
I just wondered that, like, is they following up on promise or something?
But is the relevance championships or the relevance just being talked about in the news? Because if that's the case, then yes, they are relevant because we talk about them every week, whether they are dead last in the play-in tournament,
right,
or they just got put out by the Denver Nuggets. We're talking about them. That's relevant, but is it the relevance that we like to talk about when Kobe and Jerry West and Magic and Kareem were there? Not exactly. I don't think that's what they want, but maybe that's what Jenny Buss is looking for. She just wants a news story. There's going to be relevance because Bronny's going to be on the team. But I know I've heard some people say, and I probably kind of mistakenly said it too. Well, Well, no, I didn't mistakenly say it. I said if Brooklyn had gotten Bronny James and then somehow got LeBron to go over there, that would have put butts in seats. That would be true. But in LA, they sell out regardless. So they're not going to get any more people just because Bronny gets on the team. They're not going to become any more relevant. They're definitely not going to become better on the court just because they get Bronny James. So
right.
What is it? What is it that they're looking for?
I agree with that. But they don't play now. It's like I heard y'all say this too earlier. So I'm guessing that everybody know, like people really don't play that number. Like sometimes they don't even make the team. In most cases, number 15 in the NBA, 15 plus don't even make the team or play a lot of playing time.
Mm-hmm.
Now we see him get forced minutes, then you be like,
well, I think he'll probably get minutes like
minutes.
I think he'll probably get minutes during blowouts and stuff like that. But
there's
no way he doesn't make the team. Like that's not an option. Somebody else was saying that he may get sent down to the G League. I don't think that's an option either. I don't think LeBron is going to let certain things happen to his son. And again, he wants him under his umbrella. And so I'm also looking at this and I'm saying, man, this whole thing is just crazy because one of the big questions I had is what happens if, as young players do, he makes a terrible mistake and has to get reprimanded harshly by the coach? Well, we know JJ Redick is LeBron's boy, but if it comes to JJ Redick and Bronny, well, JJ Redick going to get unfollowed.
JJ Redick is LeBron's other son, so he ain't doing nothing to Bronny.
Oh man.
And I think that the Lakers are trying. You can see Dallas was just the favorite to make the final. I think the Lakers are in position. They got to get something where they could be. If they run it back with the same team and get them if they big man was healthy and probably another one to face Minnesota and Jokic, they got to get something to do with that. They could have easily made a push. So I don't think the days of just running through the league like Mike, and then you go back to the old Lakers, and then even Kobe and Shaq. It's gonna be tough to just. I think them days over. It's like football. Like the Chiefs are running it back, but it's getting real difficult. Like with the money situation and player movement, I don't think it's a. Now you could see another Kobe and Shaq, but I don't think you just teams running the table and you know they're gonna run the table. I think that's about done. We can't say for sure Boston will be back next year.
You're right.
They could, but you can't say for sure.
No, I get what you're saying, and that's fair.
Yeah, you're right. Because we haven't seen this kind of parity in the NBA since the 70s.
Yeah, it's different champion in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
I like it.
What were the Warriors the last back-to-back champions?
Yes.
Yeah. But I appreciate it, man. It's all like that. I was just wondering, do y'all think it was a deal that maybe was made? You know how they make them deals. Hey, you do this for us, we do this for you.
Definitely, I can believe that. Because LeBron, there was a lot of things he wanted to do there to get to LA to prop up his name, to try to prove that he can win a championship there on his third team. His third team, yeah. And I just remembered something too. Remember when he switched his jersey number from 6 to 23? Now Kobe has 8 and 24, so that's gonna be something when he retires, so he can have 2 jersey numbers.
I didn't even think about that. Holy, I thought that was because AD used to wear 23, and so he went to the 6 to give AD the 23. But now I think AD wears 3, and now he's back to the 23.
Yeah.
Yes.
They said it was because I guess I don't know what kind of relationship him and Mike got, but they were saying it was because at one time Bron was saying he don't think nobody should wear 23, but then he'll come back and say
exactly.
Something. So I don't know what I think it's like us with y'all. He grew up idolizing Jordan, so he can't never fight that. But I think he like, okay, they fans think this. So
man, listen.
He said one time he was saying, what'd you say?
No, I was saying, listen, you man, you gotta take LeBron whatever he says with a grain of salt, because this is mind you, this is the dude who was right. This is the dude who was flipping plays in his head at 8 years old, right? And he was the right. But hold on though. In another interview, I think with Rachel Nichols, same Rachel Nichols he just unfollowed, he said he didn't start playing basketball till 5th grade, and I believe he was 11 in the 5th grade. So which is it? Which is it? Like you can't take this dude, man. He stayed with his foot in his mouth, man. He must put ketchup and mustard on that thing, man. Yeah. So I say that to say, Nino, man, just whatever LeBron says, man, just take it with a grain of salt, brother.
Oh yeah, I get you. You know,
It's dark days ahead.
If you don't think this is nepotism, then I don't know what to do. I'm a realistic man.
All right, Nino, you got anything else, man?
No, that's all.
All right, brother. Thank you for the support. Thanks for calling, man. Always appreciate your calls.
Oh, yeah.
All right, man. All right. That man, Nino is one of our regular and dedicated watchers, listeners, callers, man. I really appreciate it, dude. He always got something good to say. And he's a LeBron guy, so it's always funny going back.
It didn't sound like it. It sounded like he actually was being unbiased there.
He's a LeBron guy, but he's not your typical
reasonable?
LeBron guy. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he's reasonable. Absolutely. So I get it. You know, he's a fan of the guy and what the guy's done and how he's played, but he's not crazy like many other LeBron fans are. So
he's not a fanatic. You know,
doesn't appear to be. Doesn't appear to be. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna leave the Bronny James and LeBron James topic here. That was some good stuff. Again, thanks for the call, Nino. And we are gonna move to our next topic, which is NFL, because y'all know I gotta talk some football, man. I love talking football. This one is not gonna be as long or as in depth, but we got to bring it up. Tua Tagovailoa, he is waiting on a new contract from the Miami Dolphins, and it appears the Miami Dolphins do not want to give him the money that he's looking for. So this one I thought was kind of interesting. We know that Tua, can I really say he's one of the better quarter? Let's start it here. So this past offseason, a couple of guys have gotten new deals. We saw Jared Goff get 4 years, $212 million at an what is that? AAV, annual something value. Can't remember what the second A is, but $53 million a year. And he got $170 million in total guarantees and $113 million fully guaranteed at the time of signing, which that's pretty good, right? I don't think anyone's going to call Jared Goff a top tier guy, but he's a clear, very good second tier guy. Would you agree with that, Big Red?
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I mean, he did fairly decent last year,
right? And he's been to a Super Bowl before. You know, so there's that, right? All right, so cool. So then Trevor Lawrence, this is the one, and I talked about this a couple of weeks back because I thought it was just ridiculous. Trevor Lawrence got a 5-year, $275 million extension, which kicks in 2 years from now. So I think a big piece of it is that the Jaguars were trying to get ahead of it before like the numbers got outrageous. Although in my estimation, $275 million is outrageous for Trevor Lawrence. So his AAV when it kicks in is going to be $55 million a year, $142 million fully guaranteed at time of signing, and $200 million in total guarantees. So a lot of money, and then $75 million in incentives and all that, right? But the problem I have with that is that if you look at it, his numbers are almost exactly the same as Gardner Minshew, the guy whose job he took, and the guy who's kind of been roaming around the league ever since. Not roaming around. I think he's played for 3 teams since he left Jacksonville. So I don't think that you pay a guy with Gardner Minshew numbers top of the market money, but this is the ridiculousness of the way quarterbacks get paid and some other positions get paid in the NFL. That whole business of whoever's up next. Nah. It needs to be whoever's up best. You know what I'm saying? If I'm better than you, just because or correction, just because you're up next, in my estimation, doesn't mean you should get paid more because you might not be better. You didn't earn that. And I'm big on the whole earning and deserving thing. But I guess, it's the way the market works.
Potential, I guess in Nino's case, what he was talking about earlier, some contracts, especially quarterback, is paid off potential.
Mm-hmm. And we saw that with Justin Herbert. What has Justin Herbert done? He technically, what does he have? He's got the record for most passing touchdowns by a rookie. He broke Baker Mayfield's record on that. So all right, cool, you got that. But realistically, I haven't seen anything that would have made me want to give that dude max money last summer. I didn't see it. And I guarantee you his numbers are going to go down playing under Jim Harbaugh, even though Jim Harbaugh is a quarterback whisperer. Why? Jim Harbaugh believes in physicality between the trenches and pounding the rock on the ground. And so a lot of, he's not going to get the air it out numbers. Jim Harbaugh is not running an air raid. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's not going to happen. Also, Trevor Lawrence's numbers, I heard this as well, is crazy. They are very similar to Daniel Jones. And everybody thought the Giants were crazy for giving Daniel Jones $40 million a year,
right?
And give Trevor Lawrence 55. So it's like, I think part of it is that Trevor Lawrence got all the hype in college, and then coming out of Clemson, he's generational talent, all that. Which I said he wasn't. You could check this channel, but I said he wasn't. But I think that sometimes these guys hang on to players just so they don't look bad in their over evaluations. What do you think about that, Big Red?
Well, the whole I would love for this era to just die down with this whole overpaying the quarterback. The quarterback is, of course, has become the most important position in the league, and I get that most of the time. I get less in this league where the stats are inflated due to the rules. You got to have a great quarterback, right? There was a time where you could run with a great running back or just a great defense.
That's right.
Defense could be something that you could be said could win championships. The league is not quite like that anymore, like it used to. But a lot of times, like you said, Daniel Jones, you didn't have to pay that guy that kind of money. You could have fished and looked for or drafted another quarterback that suits your needs and looks like he could carry your team. Daniel Jones is not that guy. At least I don't think he is to me. Tua, I think Tua's last year was a prove-it year because he hadn't been injury-free until last year. He finally had an injury-free year. He led the league in passing yards. He had a career high in touchdowns. His completion percentage is up to almost 70%. And again, like I said, he had a horrible record against good teams, but still, I mean, it was his fourth year, I think, in the league now. You could pay him, I think, based off of potential. But I think this era where people were just paying quarterbacks just because they play the quarterback position and based on what they did in college, you overpay them. And then if they don't improve, then you're stuck with a big contract that you can't hardly get rid of. I think that era needs to die down.
I think it does too, but I can't see it happening until somebody makes just a terrible, terrible mistake. Like, not saying it's going to be a mistake. Next year, Brock Purdy is going to get paid. He's going to get broke off. He might 60 or 60 plus. And they're going to have to do it. Yeah, I do.
You do? Okay.
In that system, I mean, what has he shown? He's gotten consistently better, and he's gotten to what? Two NFC title games and a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
So, like, can we really argue that he's not worth it? You know what I'm saying? I don't think we can. I mean, they put everything around him, but he still had to take advantage of it, and he did.
Yeah, there's no shame to losing to Kansas City quarterback. I mean,
Mahomes.
It was not he got blown out. He just wet the bed.
Right. And if we're fair and if we're honest, he left the field in that Super Bowl towards the end with a lead.
Yeah.
You know, but Patrick Mahomes is going to be Patrick Mahomes. So I mean, I think he didn't light it up, but he played as well as he could play against one of the best big game defensive coordinators in NFL history, in Steve Spagnuolo.
That defense was beyond great. No, the Kansas City defense did not get enough credit.
That's right. And then remember, Spags was also he was the deco with the Giants with that NASCAR package with Mike Strahan and OCU and Umanura and Justin Tuck and those boys when they beat the Patriots. So Spags knows what he's doing in terms of calling a big game defense. He may be a lousy head coach, but he is an outstanding big game deco. You know, so
was he with the Rams one time too back in the day? Well, the Kurt Warner.
I don't know.
He wouldn't thinking about another Spags.
He wouldn't have been defensive coordinator. He would have been a position guy back then.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. But yeah, so now we're looking at Tua, and Tua is basically quoted as saying, and it's not an exact quote, but he's quoted as saying, you know, the market is the market, and they're not talking about the numbers where the market should have me. But again, we need to stop this. The market is the market, because if guys got to go out and face the free agent market and realize like, yo, they're not going to pay me what I'm looking for, then so be it. Because Tua, I believe, is 0-6 in less than 45 degrees. So there's a lot of teams, there's a lot of places where he cannot play, right?
Right.
Because think about it, and this is no shot at Tua. He's from Hawaii, right? The tropics.
Mhm.
And then when he went to college, he played in Alabama. And then from Alabama, Miami. So he's never had to immerse himself in cold weather. He can't deal with that. He just can't. And we see the evidence. Whenever it gets cold, he freezes up, literally, right?
That's going to be in the contract negotiations. Like, how you do in cold weather when you go to Green Bay and New England?
Right.
We shouldn't pay you that much based off of that.
Correct. I mean, because think about it, Tom Brady's a California guy, but he went to school at Michigan. He learned to deal with the cold, and he's arguably the best cold weather quarterback ever, right? Tom Brady, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, probably the 3 best cold weather quarterbacks in history. Those guys got it done despite the weather.
Right.
And so this is, again, it's no shot at Tua, but some of these guys need to really reevaluate themselves and understand, like, I'm not what I think I am, and the market may be where it is, but that's for guys who are better than me. That's not for me, right?
Do you think? But this basically what this is inflation with the quarterback position. And
Yes.
I can't remember what person I heard mention it one time. It might have been old dude from the Odd Couple.
Rob Parker.
Rob Parker. It might have been him that mentioned that about having a cap on the quarterback position.
So I think this is something that was brought up and is possibly being discussed. I don't know. Not a cap, but a separate salary cap just for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That's what they're talking about, because it makes it really difficult to manage the salary cap. That's why this whole business of try to get a quarterback on the rookie deal and then build around him and try to win before you have to pay him. That's where that whole thing came from. So, when you talk about these quarterbacks on the rookie deal and then when you got to pay him how much it hurts your cap, it's vicious. And you have to plan for that. And you have to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. And you're paying on potential, not even a quarterback that's not good yet. So you can't build a championship team around him because you're taking such a big cap hit because it keeps going up. Seems like every year.
Right. And then here's the other thing, right? I have talked about Dak Prescott constantly and how I didn't believe that this is a guy who should be resetting the market, because he's what Shannon Sharp likes to call empty calories, because he give you all those pretty regular season numbers, but where is he in the playoffs? But that said, I didn't realize how much it would destroy the salary cap in Dallas just to let him go. It'll be, I think, $55 million cap hit next season if they let him walk and don't re-sign him. He's got all the leverage. So you got that cap hit.
Because he got a couple years left on?
No. He's good after this year, unrestricted free agent. He's unrestricted free agent after this year. No trade clause, no franchise tag clause, and it'll be a brutal hit to the salary cap if they let him go. So I don't know what they're going to do. But the point is, a situation like that, Tua is much like Dak in that he puts up pretty regular season numbers, but you can't count on this dude in the postseason. And again, number one, he can't deal with the cold, and number two, he just doesn't show up. Now, don't get me wrong, they put everything they could around him. Now he's got weapons. He's got HN, he's got Mostert, he's got a creative offensive mind as his primary play caller, his head coach Mike McDaniel. He's got obviously Tyreek Hill, he's got Jalen Waddle, 2 absolute speed demons on the outside. If he can't get it done and make a run with these guys, like, now if you don't pay him before the season starts and he plays the season and makes a run, then you're really over a barrel. You're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to get this dude like $58 million a year at that point. But I'm always willing to take the gamble. You got to show me first before I cut the check. I'm always about taking that gamble. And being a Ravens fan, we saw this years ago with Joe Flacco. And it ended up that he bet on himself and let him, helped to lead them to a championship in 2012, 2013,
Where would you put Tua at? Let's say there's 3 tiers of quarterback. Where would you put him at on the tier?
Second tier.
Second tier.
Like mid to lower second tier, probably. I haven't sat back and mapped that out, but that sounds about right. Mid second tier. Because to me, the top of the second tier in any sport, when you're ranking guys the top of the second tier, if something gets a little funny at the bottom of the first tier, they can get into the first tier. And I don't see Tua as being a first tier guy. So I would say mid second tier. Where do you have him?
Mid tier. I'm trying to say, does he have potential to get to the first tier? Not when I say someone's first tier, they can do it without having all the right pieces in place.
Okay.
Like
Right.
Dak Prescott, he's in the mid tier, but he has to have the right pieces in check.
everything.
You
Correct.
know, Patrick Mahomes, he lost a lot of his offense. Offensive line wasn't the greatest last year, and he still got it done. He lost one of the best wide receivers in the game and still got it done.
Still got it done.
Top tier. Brady was top tier.
Of course.
I don't think I can see Tua getting to the top tier spot.
I agree. We're in lockstep on that. All right. So, yeah.
I was say one other point, and that's probably a detriment in a way to Patrick Mahomes. Yes, he's that talented, but they didn't put all the pieces around him because they thought, well, he can do it without us, putting ourselves in the hole and trying to find pieces to fill up because he's that great. Versus Prescott or Tua, we know they're not that great, and the cap hit's going to hurt us even more because if we don't have the right pieces and we don't break the bank to put all these other pieces around him, then we may not get anywhere because he's not that great of a talent. So general managers or owners can rest for top tier like Mahomes or Brady because it's like, we don't have to spend all this money because our players is great. We can sit back and let him do the magic.
Right. No, and it sucks, like especially when you get a quarterback that's super mobile, like a Lamar or one of those guys. A lot of times the owners say, "Oh wow, okay, I don't have to spend on elite weapons for these guys, or I don't have to spend on an elite left tackle for these guys." The coaches tell them, "Hey, when in doubt, make something happen with your legs," but that's not always the answer. Imagine if you have, you got a guy like a Lamar. And then the Ravens did a really good job of getting him Derrick Henry, and they drafted Zay Flowers, and they have a decent receiving core, not an elite one, but now when you got Derrick Henry, you're gonna have 8 in the box on a very regular basis, and so that opens up Lamar Jackson to do the things with his legs even more. And as he continues to progress in the passing game, even more dangerous. You got Mark Andrews back, etc. So you look at situations like that, but when you have those uber elite athletic quarterbacks, a lot of times owners are, they're, doing the evil bad guy in cartoons thing, rubbing their hands together and grinning because they're like, I don't have to spend this money on getting this guy weapons now. But they really are looking at it in the wrong way. Of course, it's easy for me to say it's not my money, right?
Well, that's what I was worried about with Lamar was, yes, he can run his behind off. One of the greatest running, if not the greatest running quarterback of all time, even in his short, tenure in the NFL. It's like, well, he's so talented, we're going to depend on him. But as we saw with Michael Vick, as we saw with Cam Newton, you can use your legs for so much, but you're going to have a shortened career. I said, you got to give him some help so he'll be more of a pass first quarterback, and he can use his legs when needed. When there's no other passing avenues for him to go to, then use your legs, but not use your legs first. It's usually, that's what happened with running backs in this league. They usually have a short career and they're running to the ground before they even hit 30. What do you think is going to happen to a running back? That it's usually smaller. I know Cam Newton was a big guy. Lamar was a big guy too, but let these guys be quarterbacks first, pass first quarterbacks, get the talent around them, and don't shorten their careers just because they're talented.
Right. No, I'm with you because CJ Stroud, he showed 2 years ago in that game against Georgia in the college football playoff. He showed that he was more mobile than anyone ever thought. But guess what? He'll slice and dice you from the pocket. He's not doing that unless he absolutely has to. So, yep, there's that. But okay, let's go ahead and we'll leave this topic right here. We'll open up the phone lines again. If anybody wants to call in, Tua, do you think he should get what the market says he should get? What do you think about the state of the way quarterbacks get paid in the modern NBA? Give us a call, and appreciate you, Nino. Give us a call, 904-219-8264, 904-219-8264. If we don't get any calls, then we'll go ahead and take it to the last topic, which I want to call quick hits, and I'll explain that shortly. Yeah, I can't see paying Tua, 58-60 million dollars a year. I just can't. He doesn't have elite arm talent. He doesn't have elite mobility. He's only been healthy 1 year. He's got a lot of weapons around him, and again, he can't play in the cold, and he doesn't play well against winning teams. It's a problem. You can't pay a guy like that kind of money unless he makes a very deep playoff run or brings you a chip. And if he does that, then you have to pay him, plain and simple.
All
So,
right.
yes.
And it makes it hard for your agent not to argue for it when you got Daniel Jones getting paid.
Yeah, and then you get Trevor Lawrence getting paid, and Tua can say,
Yeah.
"Yo, I'm better than him."
Right.
Right. But you know what? The Dolphins can say, Trevor Lawrence has a playoff win. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Like, I'm not the guy. Like the pretty numbers and all that are great, but I'm not the guy who gets super excited about that because I want to see those numbers when it counts the most. And if you can't deliver them, then
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean anything to me. All right, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and move to the final topic. And we're going to call that quick hits. So basically, in quick hits, we're going to run through and discuss some things that I thought were interesting and noteworthy, but didn't necessarily deserve an entire segment devoted to them. So we're gonna go through those, and then we're gonna get up out of here. All right.
All right.
All right. Cool. So first quick hit. Tomorrow afternoon, I think at 3:00 on ESPN, Phoenix Mercury versus Indiana Fever, and I think that's going to be awesome because that is Caitlin Clark and Diana Taurasi's first matchup in the WNBA. And remember, it was a huge deal when Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird were doing the simulcast for the women's Final Four last year, and Diana Taurasi made the comment that it's going to be a rude awakening when Caitlin Clark hits the league, and everybody was like, "Oh, she hating," and no, she wasn't hating. She was just saying, like, "Yo, I've been in this league 20 years. I understand what it is. These women are out here. They ball. They're physical. This is their livelihood." And the other part she said was, it's easy to look all world when you're playing against 18-year-olds, but these are grown women. And so a lot of people have Diana Taurasi as the greatest women's basketball player of all time. She's got a number of records in the WNBA, and she's a problem, multiple time gold medalist in the Olympics and FIBA. So I think that's going to be a great matchup, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. Your thoughts on that, Big Red?
I have no problem with what she said. Again, it's somebody that's a veteran. What, she's 42? Was she 43? She's in the 40s.
Yeah, she's been in the league 20 years. So yeah. 42.
She knows what she's talking about. It's not a hating point. I mean, I'm not gonna say there's not a little bit of, I'm gonna say the J word. I know some of them don't like hearing it. Maybe a little bit of jealousy because of the thing that she's bringing from college Iowa to the WNBA. I mean, hell, I'll be jealous too if I've been in there 20 years and you're bringing this fame in, and I maybe consider the greatest WNBA player of all time, and here you come, ain't done nothing. I might be a little bit of jealous, and she is on the wrong side of, like I said, 40. So it's not like she's going to see a lot of the benefits that may come for the future players due to, heightened ratings. But no, I think she told the truth.
She definitely told the league, but told the truth. But I would say that it's not jealousy. I would use the term frustration.
Okay.
I don't think they're jealous. I think they're frustrated, to your point, that we've been balling and going hard all these years, but the attention hasn't been there until she comes along. And the difference is she plays in a different way. The splash logo threes and the pretty passes and that's just how she plays, and that's a function of the modern game, and that's going to attract attention. That's what's marketed, etc. And so it's kind of like the analogy I made on a previous show was Magic and Larry came into the league in 1979. That doesn't mean that the players previous to them weren't still very, very good, but sometimes you need that catalyst to grab people's attention and lift that up. And I think that's what we are seeing here, especially with the Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And I mean, if we want to keep it real, Indiana Fever games have set records for viewing on 6 different networks this year. Like, I understand, again, I get the frustration, but just take advantage of it. One thing I said last week was, if I'm playing against Caitlin Clark, right, and I know that the cameras are going to be on her and that they're coming to watch her. But guess what? You came to watch her, but you about to see me. I'm about to go off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to take advantage of that attention she brings, and I'm going to show you something. So I think that that's more the mindset that, and I'm not saying they don't. If anyone, and again, I understand the frustration, but I think that's the mindset that that should be held.
Yeah, and people just have to remember it. When Magic and Bird came in the league, of course, we had players before them, Jerry West, Bill Russell, and stuff. Will Chamberlain,
right.
Oscar Robertson, even Kareem. Kareem was in the league. It was tape delayed when you had to see the finals. You didn't find out until later on the night who actually won.
I think they would tell you on the news, if you don't want to know, turn down your TV or change the channel, or not change the channel, but turn away from your TV or whatever it was, when they would report the score, because it would be on at like 11 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about getting the casual fan. Like you and me watch the game. We know about the stats and stuff like that, but that's not what puts butts in seats. That's not what gets ratings. There's a reason why the NFL, all of a sudden, I think in the 90s, I'll say the 90s, all of a sudden they talked about breast cancer awareness because they were trying to get that female audience in there were not fans. They were casual fans. They heard about the league, but then when the NFL showed, hey, we care about breast cancer awareness too, all of a sudden, then women was like, oh, maybe I should go to the game because it's like they care about our feelings. They start coming in droves to the game. Not saying no woman watched the NFL before, but
no, I totally get it.
More casual fans started watching. The same thing with Magic and Bird. They brought a rivalry from Indiana and Michigan State
and Michigan State. Yeah.
Okay.
That is still to this day the most viewed college basketball game ever.
Yes. They brought that rivalry to the NBA. Same thing with Jordan. Jordan was so great that the casual fans could not tell you his win-loss. They couldn't tell you his scoring average. They couldn't tell you the last time he scored 50. They couldn't even tell you if he won a championship in his third or second year, but they know they love to watch his brother play.
Yes.
And that's the same thing with Caitlin Clark. She's bringing her outstanding play that you've never seen. Maybe you haven't seen a lot in college for women. And then, of course, mix in with Angel Reese and the rivalry they had with that. That mix that in and bring that to the WNBA. It's brought casual fans with it. And it's not because there weren't great players before her, because it definitely was, because Diana is definitely a great player, still a better player than Caitlin Clark now. But it's about getting those casual fans to watch the league. And get those casual fans, then you can get that revenue.
That's right. That's what it's about. All right. Next topic on the quick hits. This Kyle Filipowski situation. Did you hear about that?
No. Who's this?
So Kyle Filipowski is he was expected to be a first round draft pick. He played for Duke last year.
I hate him already.
He's a two-time all ACC guy. Really good player. Expected to be a first round pick, but apparently he's got issues with his family, and it's because of his girlfriend / fiance. Not sure if she's his fiance, but she's his lady. And so she is approximately 7 years older than him. And she, according to the family, has had her hooks in him like since high school. So she took him to the prom. So if he's 18 at the prom, she's like 24 or 25 and already graduated college, which I'm not mad at the young man. Hey, you 18 and you got yourself a, grown woman. Hey, do you, man? No problem. But, apparently people think that was odd. And I think that she is allegedly Mormon. I don't know much about the Mormon faith. But she is supposedly Mormon, and coincidentally, he got drafted to the Utah Jazz. Thought that was interesting. And yeah, right. So, so apparently, she is, according to his family, she basically drove a wedge between him and his family. They can't. The brother says he can't communicate him other than trying to reach him by like instant message on social media. And it's just a weird situation. So anyway, he ended up getting drafted in the second round. And this is because teams had concerns basically about, I guess, his mind state based on this whole thing. So I just thought that was just an odd, interesting little story. I couldn't find enough detail to really do a whole segment, but I thought it was worth bringing up. I guess my question for you is, how much, if you're a team or a GM, how much do you put on what you perceive to be the mind state of a prospective draft pick versus what they showed you on the field or on the court?
Well, if a woman has done this to him in such an early part of his career, and now he's got all these groupies about to come at him, then I would be worried he might not even show up to the games.
I didn't think about it that way.
He's gonna have droves of women throwing themselves at him now, so he might not make it out. He might end up being like a very, 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 very poor man's Zion Williamson.
Very, very, very poor.
Yeah. Man, what he was going through with the porn star.
Yeah. It's a wild situation. Yeah.
And his girlfriend that was pregnant at the time.
Well, if it's as reported that she's a Mormon, maybe he'll get a couple extra wives in Utah. Who knows?
Oh, that'll work out in his favor.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
Well,
all right.
Maybe,
so
maybe it's like a cult like thing he's in. I don't know.
I don't know. It just, the whole thing seemed pretty odd. And I guess the sports tie-in is that the whole thing caused him to go from being a projected first round draft pick and to be drafted in the second round. I just thought like, this is weird.
It's not unheard of. I hear NFL looks at stuff like that, like the person's character, and are they going to be a good representation of the sports team, and that might drop them certain draft picks.
That's true. Yeah, I just don't think I've heard anything in a seemingly odd situation like that. But maybe we'll find out more as time goes on. Who knows? All right, and last quick hit of the night. We're going to talk about Klay Thompson, one half of the Splash Brothers. Splash Brothers, arguably the greatest backcourt in NBA history, who his time as a Golden State Warrior appears to be done.
He's a crash brother now.
I know, right? He's one of the greatest spot-up shooters, one of the greatest catch-and-shoot shooters of all time. He holds numerous records. I think most made threes in a playoff game with 11, most made threes in an NBA game, 14, most points in a quarter, 37, 60 points in 29 minutes. I believe I saw somewhere he scored those 60 points on 11 dribbles.
Yeah, so, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, right. I think you're correct.
Yes. So, I mean, crazy. So I saw something saying that there is mutual interest between the Dallas Mavericks and Klay Thompson, and he's a free agent. So that would be crazy. They wouldn't have to trade anything to get him. They just, if they can make it work with the money, they have to pay him. I think that could be a very good fit. Personally, I would love to see him in Philly with Embiid, Tobias Harris, and what's my man's name? Tyrese Maxey. He got busy this year. I would love to see Klay Thompson added into that mix. Now, as a Celtics fan, do I want to see Philly get better? No, but I would like to see Joel Embiid at least get to the conference finals so he can no longer be the only MVP who's never been there. But I think that would be a very good fit for Philly, and Dallas works too. So let's say those are your only two options. Which do you think is a better fit for Klay?
As far as how the game, the style of play would be, I would probably say, the Sixers, simply because it can be Embiid, if he would put himself down in the post like I like him to be at.
And I talk about that ad nauseum.
Yeah. But he's trying to save his knees, which is, his knees can't make it to the conference finals. It's not him. His knees can't make it there.
Right.
But if he could do the post in and kick out to Klay Thompson for an open three or open jump shot, that'd be great. Initially, I think we talked a little bit before the show about it. I said the Mavericks, but unless the Mavericks change their style of play where Luka is not handling the ball 98% of the game. I mean, he does find open teammates, but I think he's too ball dominant. Where he doesn't let his other teammates get the ball and handle it and try to get their own jump shot at some point. It's not that he would be bad in Dallas. I just think it's better in a Sixers uniform. I think he'd work well in Dallas, but I think he'd be better off with the Sixers.
No, I think that's fair, and I agree wholeheartedly. And again, this is really freaking me out how much we're on the same page for never having done a show together before. That's very strange. But I think that I think the Sixers would be an absolute perfect fit, to your point, with Embiid on the low block, attracting attention. they could almost run that, not the same way, because I like to compare Embiid to closest thing we have to a modern day Olajuwon, but something like how the Rockets did it, really playing that inside out ball, and you get all that attention and the double teams on the block, and it allows you to really get open looks at threes. Not saying that teams don't consistently manufacture open looks at threes today anyway, but if you have a dominant low post presence, that makes it even easier. So that's my thought. I definitely agree with you on that.
And they have a legit point guard. Better than I would say Dallas is. I mean, Kyrie's a point guard, but he's not.
Oh my gosh. LeBron James should take a pay cut to bring Clay and put Clay in that corner with the new rookie in the other corner.
To do what? Make the 12th seed in the Western Conference?
Well, this is what I got to say. First of all, man, appreciate you coming in, checking out the show. Thank you. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and make sure you do that and share it with others. Now, to your point, why does LeBron, the supposed GOAT, always need so much? Why does he always need so much? So he needs another, I guess. Is Klay Thompson a top 75 player? Maybe not. But he's probably a top 100 player. But you need another one. You need another Hall of Famer. You need another multiple time All-Star. You need another one. Like, come on, man. This guy, and you probably 21 years. That's why. No. Don't make excuses. He's needed that for his entire career. Let's not try the 21 years. That's why. I don't know if you've been watching for the 21 years, but he's always needed more. That is always the excuse when it comes to LeBron. But I'm not going to take this back into a LeBron thing. I do appreciate you, your comments in the comment section.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Let's not forget the Dallas Mavericks, where it was 1 against 3. Dirk versus Wade, Bosh, and LeBron.
Yeah, but he got it done.
Did he need extra help?
Nope. All right, but that's all good. But definitely appreciate you. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna go ahead, wrap up this quick hit segment. That worked pretty cool. That was easy. And we're gonna give a last opportunity for anybody who wants to call into the show. 904 was that 219-8264 904-219-8264 if you want to give comments on any of the topics in the quick hits, or if you want to give final comments on any of the topics that we covered tonight. Love to hear from you. Let's do it. Dallas was strapped that year.
Really?
Did Dallas have 3 all pros all in their prime? See, what y'all conveniently forget, y'all LeBron fans, the year before LeBron got there, Dwayne Wade was first team All NBA, led the league in scoring, right? Chris Bosh was second team All NBA and was an all-star starter, right? You forgetting all that, right? Come on, man. Come on.
Don't forget Wade was also a MVP candidate.
Correct. We gotta stop this. Gotta stop this. I
2
get it.
MVP candidates on one team.
We gotta stop. Gotta stop. Yeah, Nino. Hey, I'm always down to hear from you, brother. But yeah, we gotta stop this. It's ridiculous.
Just gotta get it done. That's all there is to it. Get it done.
Yeah. Oh, no, we can't forget that they didn't get enough from the minimums, right? That's what LeBron said. They didn't get enough help from the minimums. So
Kobe, but Kobe had Paul Gasol, give him that, but he beat Ray Allen, Garnett, Paul Pierce.
Yes, he did.
Rajon Rondo.
Nino.
Man, I can't take it no more, man.
Yeah, yo, you sound hurt up, Nino. Man.
We were having a great show, man. It
I'm
was
sorry.
Informative. Y'all just can't help it at the end. That's it.
All right, Nino, I got one thing to say to you, man, because I know you're upset about what we say about LeBron, but I got one thing. Check this out. Here you go.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
That's what I want to hear from you, Nino. You tell me.
Now, my perspective on it. I gotta agree with the way Wade was. Now they was tired. Now the Heat was tired before that, especially the year prior to that. They won like 20 games, or something. But Wade was still Wade and Wade. My thing is always been. I wish we could put me on the lie detector here. I didn't like the Miami team when he first went to Miami. I feel like I know a little basketball, and the Wade and Bron, I feel like this is why they lost to Dallas. Who was Rick Carlisle the coach of Dallas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He finally got smart, which he had Tyson Chunk, so he had the team to do it and say, wait a minute. We can't play these guys this one-on-one basketball. They got two guys that do the same thing. They want to do the same thing on the court, and none of them is great shooters. So we're going to play a soft like zone in them and turn Wade into a jump shooter and turn Bron into a jump shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is my thing on the GOAT debate. If you tell me you like Jordan because he's a better shooter, or you tell me how his mid-range game was flawless, as a basketball person, won't be able to argue. I just don't like the 6-ring argument. This same thing with Tom Brady. I don't like to. I don't like when people say Bron beat. Like when you say Miami, and they say Bron won in Miami. Yeah, he did. But when he finally won, he had damn near the perfect team.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Eddie House took the feet to it. But if you looked at the series, Eddie House wasn't getting much playing time, like 8 minutes.
Right.
I feel like Eddie House should have been playing more because of the type of style and the type of team they had.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you got Bron, Wade, Bosh was a good shooter, and Joel Anthony on the court at one time. They were super team by name to me. I don't believe they were better than Cleveland with Love, Kyrie, and Bron. I don't believe that. Now I want to see what y'all think about that.
Okay.
14.
Right. So you said that you don't like the 6 rings argument, right?
No, I don't.
So
I mean, I don't like. I like it being thrown in because it's true. But
right.
Okay.
You know
but when people make it the end all be all, I understand. But this is what Mike and Larry and Magic and all the greats would tell you.
You play to win the game.
All right. That's what that's about, Nino. But I do hear you. It's lazy and it's easy to say, well, 6-0 and 6 finals MVPs. Nah. There's way more than that to why Jordan was clearly better than LeBron James is. It's just way more than that. And this is not necessarily the time to get into the GOAT debate, but that is a very interesting perspective that you gave about the Cleveland version of the Cavs with Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving being better. So I'm gonna defer on this to Big Red. I would have to think about that.
What's the question? Is the Cleveland Cavaliers version better than the Miami Heat version? What was the question?
Yeah. Especially the first version before they got the shooters. But I would say they was better than every Heat team with Wade and Bron. I would say Kyrie and Bron with Love, Tristan Thompson and J.R. was better than the Heat. The Cavaliers were a better team than the Heat. Overall team. If you take the names off there, what they thought it was gonna be. Because I agree what they thought it was gonna be. I didn't think it was gonna be that.
I could say top to bottom, at least with the first finals that they went to, the Miami Heat went to versus the Cavs you're talking about, I can say the Cavs had a better team from top to bottom. They did retool the next year or so with Miami Heat, and they got a little bit better from top to bottom. But what I also would counter argue with that, with the team that the Heat team that lost to the Mavs in the playoffs, does LeBron James only scoring 17 points per game in the finals have anything to do with why they possibly lost?
Right. But listen, this is my argument. This is what I love. Even Mark Cuban said that. They said, now this is why I say, and you got to remember, Eric Spoelstra was a first-year assistant coach then. And Bron was the first, he was in the fire. So I feel like somebody's supposed to know. Somebody with basketball sense, if they even had the personnel suited. Mark Cuban said what I was already thinking. Did y'all see the defensive strategies that we ran all year? They swept Kobe and them. So they wasn't going out there saying, look, we're going to play this man-to-man. We're going to play the defense we've been running all year. I see most teams do that. He went Bill Belichick. We're going to put our defense towards this system. So I would love to know what was the offensive game plan besides put the ball in brother's hand like y'all always did and let him make a play.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that works. But when if you play a soft zone and he can't get to the best because Tyson Chandler ain't got to hold Joel Anthony, and nobody got to hold on Wade, and you don't got to hold. And then when Wade got the ball, you got Bron out there at the 3-point line standing.
So I think
I want to know what was the game plan.
So okay, I'm not a coach, but I think there was two things, right? So we know that in the summer after that loss, according to LeBron, what's his name? Spoelstra went out west and he got with Chip Kelly trying to figure out if they could run the spread offense in basketball. And that's when they taped off the paint and made Chris Bosh turn into a 3-point shooter, took him off the block. And part of the problem with the issue is prior to that, Chris Bosh was playing or attempting to play his normal role, but we know that LeBron cannot play with a big in the paint. He just can't, which is another reason why he's not the GOAT, another deficiency. He has to have everything cleared out for him to be able to operate. He can't operate in space. So there's that. And then the second part, I think, is that so many of Miami's points came from them being a lethal, absolutely lethal perimeter defensive team. And I will give all the credit in the world for that. There's very few teams I've seen that could turn defense to offense as quickly as they could on the perimeter. So they get a deflection, they get a steal, and in 2 dribbles, that's like a dunk or an alley on the other end. And so they were scoring a whole lot of points off of their defense, and LeBron was having difficulty. LeBron was having a ton of difficulty trying to score because Chris Bosh was quote unquote in his way. So I think they try to run
Chris
a traditional.
Bosh was in his way though.
He was that first year.
I agree with everything you said. Now you say the first year, it wasn't just Chris Bosh though. We gotta remember how the game used to be played. It wasn't just Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh was playing power forward.
Yeah,
Joel Anthony was the one I feel was in the way. So you got 2 of them in there. So
we'll think about this though. LeBron has never been able to play with a big in the paint because even when he was in Cleveland and they lost in the finals in 2015, I think there were 2 games where Mozgov got busy, but LeBron didn't. Why is that? Because he can't play with a big. And when that happened, he pulled Mozgov out of there. And Mozgov minutes started to decrease. Then LeBron's LeBron's scoring numbers shot back up because he cannot play with a big in the paint. But
and because of that, that's why Kevin Love basically took him out of his position and how he played in Minnesota and just made him a spot up shooter.
They did him like they did Chris Bosh. They relegated him to sitting outside. Absolutely. Which also took him away from being the dominant rebounder that he was in Minnesota.
There you go.
You know, anybody who knows basketball can see all that.
It's a team. It was a team. I mean, a team makes only one person. That's just like saying Tony Kukoc kneel with Jordan and Scottie Pippen could have been. That was because Scottie believed he could have been something. But this Jordan team, we playing the Jordan sprint. They had getting Jordan ball on the post on that ring because y'all already know what it was because they explained how I feel. Told Kobe, listen, this how Jordan did it now.
Right.
And
right.
I see what you're trying to do here.
Right.
And this how Jordan did.
Right.
So I feel like they played to the brother's strength. Yeah. And then
they had to
Miami,
because he can't play any other way. They had to. He is the rare superstar that cannot play, that can only play one way. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I would say he couldn't really in Miami. Now I give it up. But we see him play point in LA now, like legit point.
Well, but
when they won in LA and he was running the deck.
I don't give a whole lot of credit for that. The reason why is because he has to have the ball in his hands. When he has the ball in his hands, that's when he's at his best. When he can control everything, make all the decisions, decide what's happening, and all of that. That's when he's at his best. But we gonna leave it right there, Nino, unless you have something else, because we can argue this point all night long, man. You know how this goes.
Yeah, I ain't got this, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for calling, Nino. Always appreciate you listening and calling. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna wrap the show right there. I want to give thanks to my man Big Red. Man, I appreciate you for stepping in for G, bringing your
appreciate you having me on, man. Shoot,
no doubt, man. This has been good. Yeah, we're gonna do this again. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna call it right there. Make sure if you haven't already, you like and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate that, helping this thing grow. What is this? This is about to be the beginning of July. So let's make the goal to hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of July. We should be able to do that, but I need your help to do it. All right. So make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you share the channel if you like what you have heard tonight. Probably Wednesday night, another live, and then next Saturday. So yeah, that's about it. We'll be back with you next episode, and I'm out. Peace.
Peace, y'all.